And we're on.
And we're on.
Okay.
You gotta
Is it
clap.
lit up? Are you sure?
No, we don't have to
No,
clap.
there's no
video.
video.
No video.
Back to our roots.
Wow.
So we're good with. Can you want to run with it? And like I'll do the intro and stuff.
He's
but-
been doing a lot of running. He should.
Yeah.
He
He's-
should.
I don't even know how to intro the show.
Forrest Gump.
No, I'll do the intro. I kind of remember what to do, but then I'll let you kind of figure out where we want to go with it,
Okay.
and then I think it'll just.
Yeah, we're just
It'll go.
Once
Let's
you
just
just
talk.
need to start.
we might not even release this. It's just let's just see what happens. Let's get the nerves out
Yeah.
again.
All right.
Cool.
Mhm.
All right.
Test run.
I just need silence for like 10 seconds, and then. All right. Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Team Next Level Quad Pod. I'm Coach Greg, joined by Marilyn, Rich, and James. Guys, it's been a while, but welcome back. How's everybody doing?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Really good.
And James is right
What?
back, right back to his normal self. Thank you, James.
Yeah, we always
For
have-
all his
Mm.
listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No special hello. You didn't have anything planned.
Yeah, it just came to me.
So it's been a while, guys. It's probably been almost a year since we've recorded. Not a year since we've hung out and talked to each other, but a lot has happened in the last since the last episode we released. And so today is going to be just sort of a recap, right?
Yeah, so
Mhm.
it's end of the year almost. We're in December 2024, and yeah, we definitely had a busy year. So podcast was a little bit on the hold, and so I think it was a good idea just to get back in it,
Mhm.
reminisce a little bit, go through the
Sure.
highs, go through the lows, talk about what happened, and then maybe what we want to try to do for 2025.
Yeah, sounds
So
good.
we're gonna need
Yeah.
a two-parter.
Maybe.
We'll see.
It
Yeah.
might be.
So where do you want to start? James, you want to go through your season?
I think
'Cause
we need to start. Yeah.
you probably had the biggest.
Start at the end.
Jeez.
You probably had the biggest season of all of us.
Uh-huh.
Definitely from an events entered standpoint, without a doubt. You kind of had some big stuff happen this year for you.
I raced a lot, and I think before this year, I didn't really like enjoy racing per se. It was just still very like new
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
a lot of nerves. But I think this year I really embraced.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
say.
you
Racing.
definitely
I'd say.
did. Yeah.
So
As much as your coach embraced the racing.
Listen, I bust his balls a lot, but I do love it. It's fun. So let's go through James. Maybe because we'll be here forever if we give like a full race recap of all of them. So let's start your season off with
I think it was
April Jersey City Marathon, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we
You-
took a little time off in the end of the year, and then basically January 1
Yeah,
was
maybe
right-
even before that, but
Mhm.
right.
was right back into just marathon build. So I prefaced this with like, we all wanted to do an Ironman that year. So I was like, all right, I got to really like get comfortable with running distance in my head. That to me, I think that was like the biggest concern. So it's like, what a good way to force myself to run
Mhm.
in the winter is like have a
Mhm.
race, that early spring marathon.
Sure.
So that was race number 1.
And that went off. I mean, what was it? A week before? No, 10 days before. You rolled your ankle on one of your last
Yeah.
hard
Yeah,
runs.
it was like the last long run.
Yeah, it was
right?
like about 10 days exactly, week and a half.
Yeah,
last like actual like speed
workout,
workout.
yeah.
And then like testing marathon pace, holding it for a while, like right before the workout started. It's like in the park and like rolled my ankle right there. And I should have stopped, but then I always have to finish the workouts at our program. So I just did it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, made it through, and then like it got fixed up as much as I could. Jersey City was okay. I mean, I joked that was like the best 18 miles I ever felt running in a marathon. and then after that, it just fell apart.
Yeah.
It just my normal cramps and whatever. It was fun too because you guys surprised me there. I think it was like around mile 13 or something.
Yeah,
I caught you
yeah,
guys
around
on the
halfway.
course. I was pumped after that. But then like getting like texts and stuff throughout the race was fun. And then I remember at one point I was like, guys, I'm shutting it down. I'm cramping so bad. Sorry. It's like I felt bad. Like you guys came out.
that was
no,
fun.
it was
We had-
fun to
It was
go.
it was really
yeah.
fun to watch, like from
Yeah.
the
It
was
sidelines,
cool.
see all the people come through, and
Yeah.
cheer you guys on.
I was
Mhm.
also gonna say it was cool to ride there.
Yeah, that
And
was
ride
It was
back.
fun. Well, we had horrible
Oh
weather
my
right on the way
gosh.
back.
I
It
was just about to say that like I think that started it. That weekend
That
was
started
the
the
weekend
bad weather.
of bad weather training.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah, it was
The
rough.
theme.
all the time.
It was
It's
like
foreshadowing.
It was
right.
foreshadowing.
We were there. It was cold when we left up here, right?
Yeah.
And you remember how far it was? Like 25 miles,
It
20
wasn't
miles.
that far. Yeah, 20 miles or something
Yeah.
like that. 25.
And then by like early morning, mid or late morning, I guess, it got hot.
It was
right?
nice. Yeah.
was
Like at
gorgeous
the
day.
race, it was nice.
That's when I was cramping because
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it got
Yeah,
hot.
it got
Nobody,
hot,
I don't think
yeah.
anybody. That was probably the first warm day you had to run in,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
It was
anybody
like
in that race.
70.
Yeah,
at
it was.
some
Yeah.
It
point.
was warm.
It was
Yeah.
nice.
So I think that was probably a part of it. And then we rode home, and about 5 miles into it, right, it got
Oh my
cloudy and
God.
dark and rained.
Skies
on us.
opened up.
Yeah.
Oh,
It got cold again.
Did you guys
It
take the
was
turnpike or
crazy.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
We were
just
along the
drafted
water, and I remember
behind
heading
some
down
18-wheelers.
the hills here.
Yeah,
I was like, woof.
Yeah.
Can't see anything.
It was.
It was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
yeah. It was a fun day.
Yeah.
Big day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So not everything you were looking for, but I think the training was good leading
Yeah.
into it. Like you set a good base for the year. Like it kind of set the groundwork, and then never one to take a break. You
We
2.5
did,
weeks later?
No, was it? Bear Mountain was like
That
it was a
maybe
month. It
a
was like
month.
month, like
Okay.
May 4th
You,
ish.
you did your first ultra marathon because
That
26.2 wasn't enough.
that race that destroyed me.
Yes.
That one?
It was so long. Like it took
Wow.
I
me.
mean, you think it was
It
long?
took me like 9 hours or something.
Right.
Like it
Oh
was
my
just,
So it was
God.
what, 50K? And do you remember how much elevation there was? I feel like we looked at it a couple weeks ago, and was it 10,000 feet?
something like that.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part. Was just the climbing, but worse than the climbing was the descending.
Yeah.
Because you could never
Yeah.
get comfortable, and it's so technical that course. Like that was the first time I ever got bruised toenails, and I lost like 4 toenails afterwards. Like that's the first time. All
I think
of this.
that's
Yeah,
like
all the
that's the
descending.
ultra runner
Yeah.
like
Thing.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your
Welcome to the club.
But it was like
Not my
constant from the it was from the descending,
Yeah, your
and then
toes
like your
hitting the
toes just
front.
keep
Yeah.
hitting. And the weird thing from that race, my hands and my feet must have also like they were
Swelled up,
weirdly
swell up.
swollen. Like Koichi was cracking up at how big my hands got, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh. But then I read it's like not only is it from the salt, but like you're bursting, like little capillaries are bursting
Oh, really?
Oh my
from
gosh.
that long effort. I was like, oh, that's crazy.
I mean, I know whenever I go like hiking with a backpack on and stuff, my hands swell up. I have to take my ring off
Mm.
because my fingers swell up too much.
But yeah, and then on that one, I kept spraining the same ankle like over and over. It was like torture.
That's what I remember. You were like, I rolled
Yeah.
it like 8 times more
Yeah.
or something
Not
like that. I was
even,
like,
like-
holy
And the other
cannoli.
one too. Like it was like both sides.
Oh my
It was-
God.
But
That
someone
stuck with me.
David is signed up for it for next year, and I was like, oh, I was kind of thinking maybe I'll do it
Maybe
again.
you have to do it
I was
again.
thinking about it, but I think it's too close to Jersey, man. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't even matter.
Well, that didn't really stop you because then you did do
Oh,
Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That is the time.
So
it
that's when
works.
you open
Yeah.
your triathlon season in like late May.
Yeah, I guess that's when that was.
Yeah.
And that's actually was one of the best swims I felt like comfort wise, because I still had like that little fear of like, oh, what if swims go bad? But
Mhm.
I remember you telling me just be comfortable in the water was the goal.
Yeah.
And so I remember just swimming. It was like nice, easy pace. It wasn't my worst swim. I think it was like a 2:0 something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I never felt like any panic, or it was just
Right, you were calm the whole time.
calm the whole time.
That sets up the rest of the race.
Yeah.
yeah.
but
Mhm.
in a good way.
And it was just easy to sight too. Like just the
Yeah.
way that course is laid out. And it was overcast day. It was one of the few times I could like see everything the whole time, which
That's nice.
I think that
Yeah.
a lot of my anxiety is that. Like I just don't
Yeah.
know. I
I
don't know where I'm
struggle with
swimming.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah. What's coming?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no idea. Usually,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm used to just following someone. I'm like,
Yeah.
hoping they're going straight too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my fear is always like, how far off course am I right now?
Yeah.
And I look up. I'm like, I don't know where I am.
When you can't see any of the buoys, that's the worst.
Yeah. And then you add sun glare on top of that, and
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
my anxiety level goes through
Uh-huh.
the roof.
So that's mid-May, and so then does that bring us to the first race we all did?
Yeah,
That brings us to
June.
June, and we
Mhm.
did.
Oh,
That's what I'm
I
looking
forgot
at.
about that Western Mass.
Right? Did you do anything, Rich, before Western Mass?
No, I had to do. No.
Okay. So
Western
then we
Mass.
went to
Springfield,
Springfield, Massachusetts, the
Mhm.
home of the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
We were right
by
by
the
it or
James
no?
Naismith.
Yeah, we
we
drove
ate
by
museum.
it. We ate.
ate at it.
Oh yeah.
The restaurant
oh,
we
we
had
did?
dinner at was
we had dinner there.
Oh, that first.
the first night, the team dinner.
I remember we did, but I just can't remember it at all.
It
It was like wooded, like very dark.
Yeah, very
kinda,
dark.
Like wood paneling everywhere.
I remember now. I think that's when I had that Delta drink.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's why you don't remember.
That is why you
That
didn't
is
remember.
why you were
was-
so funny that night.
By the way, they
Yeah.
had a Black Friday sale. Did I send you the link?
No,
No. Oh shoot. 50% off,
it's probably still going.
and they have
Hmm.
New flavors. I'll send it to you.
Are
Of
they
what?
back on the shelves now? Because didn't they?
Not
take-
on the shelves, but you can order direct still.
What did I
Mm.
miss? What?
The
what's-
Delta drink, the
Oh.
one that gave you the. Was it that?
They can sell it online.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And they have new flavors: acai blueberry and watermelon something.
Love
Mm.
me some watermelon.
I have some come on the way. I'll
Watermelon's
give you
probably
guys
good.
some. Yeah, next time. It's 25 milligrams, though. It's pretty hard.
don't drink the whole thing.
Last time we did it, almost killed me.
So let's talk about Western Mass.
It was a fun race.
It was a wet race, that's
Cold.
for
Oh,
sure. It was
Yeah.
it
Oh,
Yeah.
Another
we got
Windy.
dumped
another,
on that
another
day.
rainy race.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was
a-
a
Yeah.
It was
miserable weather.
theme.
Um,
We drove the course.
Did we swim?
And-
There was a swim on that one.
He's done so many
ladies and
races,
gentlemen,
he doesn't
this
even
is how
know.
much racing
Oh,
he's
that
done
was with the river.
in the river.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a grand plan this whole year. All down
Down
rivers.
river
Downriver
swims,
swims.
yeah.
Yeah.
Drove the course. Remember that bike? We're like, oh, there's going to be some hills on this.
It was I thought it
It
was,
was
a
not
super
bad.
challenging. Like maybe
Yeah.
not challenging. It was a really fair course. There
Yeah.
was no hiding anywhere.
Nope.
No.
The first half, right, was very hilly, mostly up.
Yeah.
And then the second half was downhill for the, generally. But with the rain that rolled in, I don't know when you guys got
And it
the
was
most of
windy,
the rain.
too.
Yeah.
On the bike.
No, I know on the bike,
Yeah.
but I think I got it
Second
after
half
the
of the bike?
first
30.
big descent. Like,
Oh.
yeah,
Mile
probably
30.
30, 35
I
in
was
there.
at like 35, I think.
Yeah.
And then that took a little bit of my nerve away. Just I
Mhm.
didn't feel like hurting myself.
And the faster you went, the more the wind, like the rain would
Yeah.
drive against you. So it
Yeah.
was almost like
Yeah, the
So-
wind was a little bit sketchy. Probably shouldn't have gone with a 90 millimeter front
Yeah,
wheel.
there was a lot of side wind.
Yeah, there was a
oh,
couple
and they had the
times.
speed
Yeah.
bumps in the
And the
road too.
speed
Yeah, there were
bumps,
speed bumps on
yeah.
both. So like that part that should have been really fast really wasn't.
Mhm.
And then I thought the run course was super challenging. I
That was
found it-
you went up and then into the park. And
Yep.
then you did the park twice. And there was
Yep.
hills in there. And then you had to
That
climb a
last
hill up.
hill
That
coming
last-
out was
That's
Yeah.
when
brutal.
that's when I broke. Was
Yeah,
there-
me too.
Yeah, I had to walk
Broke.
Yeah.
most of that hill.
Yeah.
I think I was doing okay until that hill, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't have enough run up this hill.
For me, the worst was I remember just at the bike. I had gotten so cold, like my
Yeah.
teeth were chattering,
Really?
and then I was thinking like, do I need to withdraw? But I was like, I wouldn't pull myself out of it because I just,
Yeah.
I don't think you can make that decision. But part of me was like, am I like gonna get hypothermia?
Yeah.
And it was so uncomfortable for me. And I think it was later that I realized that it was one of those things where when you're it wasn't raining when we first started, so
Mhm.
my body was like
Mhm.
trying to sweat, trying to cool down. And then once that rain hit,
Yeah.
it just like overshot. Like it got too cold at
Yeah.
that point. So
Yeah.
then I just couldn't like recover. But
Yeah, I had
um,
definitely heard some stories. People said it got very bad out on the bike. I think we got
Yeah.
in before it got really, really bad.
You mean got bad in terms
In terms of just like windy
Oh.
and cold and rainy
and
like
people?
and the people having a hard time with that.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
if like James is saying, I didn't get cold until the very end of the bike because the first 20
So it's
miles
flying.
were
Uphill.
warmer and uphill
Yeah.
and not raining on me.
I
you
think
know.
I never really got cold, but I think it was because I was like nervous about the wind and
Yeah.
the rain. I guess that kept me warm, like my nerves.
but I think I was
I
like in
was
this
never
weird
cold.
like loop of like if I pedaled faster like to stay warm, then I would get cold more
Colder.
because there's more rain. So I
Yeah.
would stop pedaling,
Yeah.
which got me cold because I wasn't exerting any effort. So then I didn't know like where to be. And
Yeah.
I remember the only thing that helped was just being an arrow,
Yeah.
like to like
Mm-hmm.
try
Uh-huh.
to scavenge
Cover
some
yourself.
body heat.
Yeah.
And then my last resort was like peeing myself on the bike for the first time ever, which
Yeah.
was really difficult.
Last resort or first resort?
That's what you did to stay warm.
At one point, I was like, I have to
Interesting.
pee, and then I was like, well, it's raining. It's probably gonna make me feel warm.
Yeah.
And that was like the first time I was able to, but it took a while to like get it started. It's like a weird, I don't know. It wouldn't like swimming. It just
Right.
flows out. And you don't even miss
Yeah.
a step. But on the bike, I was like, I stopped pedaling. I was just coasting. And I remember it was like flat, and then someone's behiend me, and he starts passing me because I'm just like standing like.
He totally knew what you
He's
were
like,
doing.
and so I was like, oh, I gotta go start pedaling. And eventually, once I was like, it was like a little descent. then I was finally able to like get the flow going. And then it's like the longest pee of my life.
Yeah.
But it was nice and warm. It felt so good. It really did. And then it gets cold. Like it only lasts
It's
Yeah.
short
very
lived.
short. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it helped. It helped.
Yeah, I just remember the last like 5 miles, like totally losing my nerve and not being able to. I was just in like, let's get in the house, like get into T2 and be done with this. I didn't want to push at that point. I was
Yeah.
cold. I didn't love, there were a lot of people around me.
Mhm.
I didn't love the way people were handling their bikes. And I was just like, fuck this. Like, be done with the bike.
My favorite part though on the bike, there was a guy in front of me and like had the right turn arrow at like at the turns for like a
Mhm.
whatever, and then it was like one was right before a driveway, and the guy literally like turned into
No.
the driveway in front of me. I was like,
God.
that's not the course. I was like, yeah. Oh, this
my
is the one
God.
that went across traffic too.
Yeah.
Sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
weird. That was a weird
That
course.
got-
That's
That's
where I
weird.
started to lose it. And I'm just like, this
Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
worth
Yeah.
doing something stupid for.
I got cut off in traffic.
But then once we started running, it got comfortable again, right? Like it wasn't raining.
It didn't
the
really
whole
rain
time.
too much on the run.
It didn't rain for me at all on the run. I kind of liked the run course. And usually I don't like loops. I liked it.
Mhm.
That one hill was really hard, but other than that, I thought.
Yeah.
I like when it's like rolling like that a little bit.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, like all through that park, the hills, and then
Yeah.
coming back out of the park that last.
That last hill was
Mm.
really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember feeling pretty good. Like I was like thinking like, oh, maybe I could PR my half marathon time, but I was like, not on this
You
hilly
came
course.
close.
But yeah, it was
Yeah.
I
pretty
think
close.
you and me were both within like a minute or two of
A
our
150,
North Carolina times.
153 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I think so.
don't remember. But yeah, those times.
Mm-hmm. It was fun.
And then, so that brings us to what was that? Late June, mid June.
Mhm. June
right?
7th or something.
Okay. And then that kind of starts the summer of Ironman, right?
Well,
The
a week. I
summer.
think the week after that, I did Wyckoff.
Wyckoff.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had to get. But preface this: originally we were all going to do Jersey Man, and then
And
we were all
Wyckoff.
going to do Wyckoff. And I think NJ State was on the books too.
It
Me,
was talked about.
I just
yeah.
sign up for everything.
Yeah. You don't
As-
wait for the confirmation.
as
you
soon
just hear us talk about it and they're like, sign up.
Because we were like, oh, I forget.
Because we felt bad that we didn't do Wyckoff last year.
yeah, we're like, oh, there's like
we should've
nobody
done
there. We
it.
should,
Yeah.
and we felt like looking back here, like we
We
were
missed out.
we
Yeah.
were- but we were like felt fine enough
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
do it. Like
for
oh,
sure.
it wouldn't have been our best, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
we weren't that terribly destroyed.
Mhm.
So like, oh, let's do it this year. And then nobody else felt like doing it.
I was happy to hand out flyers.
But again,
we showed up and
it was,
supported.
it was
Yeah.
nice seeing you guys there. I was like, oh, so pumped. Like when
right.
it's nice. Like
Wouldn't have seen us if we didn't
because
support.
normally when we're all racing, like
Yeah,
we don't see each
each
other
other
like,
much.
like
Right.
that. So
Mhm.
it was nice having a cheering section again.
It worked out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was tough though. My legs were a little tired on the run. The run was bad.
All right. So then we come to the summer Ironman. Marilyn and I bowed out of the Ironman build.
Not right away.
Not right away. We
I mean,
tried.
we gotta play this out a little longer for the listeners. Like
Save it.
Save it. Not really a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Um,
Where did we even start? I mean, it was. I guess. I mean,
It was just put
Western
in the
Mass
time.
was start of it, and then
Yeah.
the start of
like building.
Yeah,
building,
for
yeah.
sure.
Because it wasn't our A race. It was just
Yeah.
shake the rust off. And
hmm Yeah, I mean, it
Mhm.
was kind of like your build into that race, build good, strong fitness. Maybe not specific to 70.3, but like with an eye towards Ironman for sure.
Yeah. I don't even remember like where we even picked up. Like it was just
I mean, it was a
Well-
little bit of a break, and then
Yeah, a couple
It
weeks
wasn't
break.
much.
right
was
into
it
it.
even a couple weeks? I don't know.
I think it was a week.
A week.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the worst of it. I just remember my butt being so sore from all the rides. Like it
Yeah,
was like
Before June or after?
after June.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what the memory mostly not stands out, but like is the thing that you did most because you just spent so much time. So much
yeah.
time. And I remember just like, okay, this weekend. All right. Remember like we started and it was like, all right, James and I can do this weekend. Let's go. We got to just put in the time. And that's
But
what,
like,
that's what I remember most.
what do we normally do? Like, what would be our long bike when we're building
3.
up for a half? 3?
3 to
Three.
4? No.
maybe. Yeah, I think like 3.5 would be a good solid day. I don't think we stretched it too much.
So
you know,
definitely
we might
notice-
go out for like a fun ride, you know, try and do something long and get 4 hours in, but most of the time it was in that 3.5.
I feel like as soon as we exceeded that 3.5, like once we just went to 4 and 4, my butt was getting so sore. And I thought like it was something wrong with my
There was a lot of butt talk.
chamois.
A lot of butt
Was
talk.
something
A
wrong
lot
with
of
my
butt
bike
talk.
seat? I was like, this like something
Yeah.
felt
And it was really
so
cool
uncomfortable.
because every ride had pockets and themes, like chapters of a book. So you'd start out, you'd be like, "Oh, how's your training going? How's the week?" Blah blah. blah. And we get that all out of the way. Then you're like, "Oh, we've got another 3 hours to go." So it would shift to like food. There was a lot of food
A lot of food
conversation.
talk,
Oh,
sure.
so much food conversation.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, "Oh, something's broken. Something needs to be fixed on a bike, or somebody popped a tire, or what new gadget needs to be got." Or what we're gonna ride at the race and things like that. And then those same chapters just kept coming back every ride.
and then the theme was always rain.
Oh,
my
my
gosh,
god!
so much rain.
Yeah, yeah. The weather wasn't very
never let
cooperative
up.
on weekends, and then you know, as soon as you guys were done racing, we never got another drop of rain.
Yeah, we got
in
that
New
drought
Jersey
and
Yeah.
forest
For
fire.
about
And it wasn't like
75
that
Ks.
rain accumulated for us
No.
to have like as soon as the rain stopped. It was like we have a drought.
We
Yeah.
blew through
We're
it.
done.
Yeah,
The worst was, and Rich felt the same, like our cycling shoes, like the smell on them. And it's like, I don't
I've
know what
never
it
had
is.
that
It's like
before.
whatever's like picking up from the road and
Right.
our whatever
And
natural
sweat.
foot juices and
Well, it was
the
all
rain.
summer. So much rain and sweat.
We
my
tried
God.
like we both tried to get it, like to do the things that everybody right. We went deep diving into the intrawebs, the internet, and then we like looked. Yeah, we looked at everything like intrawebs, internet, and we tried everything. I tried everything. Nothing works. Nothing. You just throw the shoes out.
yep.
Yeah, I mean, part of it, I mean, washing it alone was not enough, and then what worked finally for me was spraying it with white vinegar and then leaving it in the sun if we got a sunny day. Because
Okay.
Yeah.
that was the thing, like if it didn't,
And what do you mean worked? Like totally went fine?
yeah,
No.
it killed. Like yeah, it's like what
Nope.
Greg said. There's like bacteria that
Stop
needs
it.
to be killed.
Nah.
The problem is like you can't put the shoes
Do
in
you
the
want
dryer.
to? Do you want to? Do you
Yeah,
want to
'cause the
have
heat.
this podcast's picture, theme, whatever?
Smell-o-vision.
No, just be what you found in your the thing that goes on the
Oh.
roof
Oh
of the
no,
car.
I
Yeah.
heard
Later.
about that. Yeah.
Is that
Well-
what you want? Is that? Cause yeah, go ahead. Tell me again how it was totally fine.
That was probably from your shoes though.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
But if basically we had that storage container on top of the car, and we had thrown all of our wet gear after the race in there, and
Because
then
the race was also just pouring.
and it's just plastic. There shouldn't be really any like organic material in there, but it grew white fuzzy mold inside there just from the 2 days the wet stuff was up there. So
Oh my God.
yeah,
Gross.
That was never experienced that before. But we did. We were able to stay outside, and we were able to get a
Yeah,
lot of the
you guys
riding
didn't
in.
have to do any kind of
Yeah,
big,
really long indoor.
trainer rides. I don't know if you did more than an hour and a half, 2 hours on a trainer.
I
ever.
think 2 was the
Yeah,
was probably the
most
most.
we got,
Right.
but then it would be like easy stuff
Yeah,
on the trainer.
Yeah, it wasn't crazy. Yeah, so what were the takeaways that from other than like, you know, that kind of fun stuff like stinky ass shoes and you
So
know,
much
talking
fun
about
stuff.
everything that you're going to eat, but like from the training standpoint, what were the kind of takeaways that you guys got from what that build looked like and you know how it made you feel, like, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like so I guess like training for an Ironman, you know, what does it take?
Why are you looking at me? You start. You
Uh,
did so much racing this year.
I don't want to talk the whole time.
All right. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and it's
Yeah.
like unfortunate because you don't want to talk about the bad and the ugly. You just want to talk about the good. But I think it's out there, and everybody kind of knows you. You get to that point in your training where you start like, okay, making a shake, but you're really putting peanut butter in the coffee instead of the shake. Like you get to that to that point of just training, constant training, that you're kind of fatigued and mentally fatigued too.
Yeah.
So you get to spend a lot of time with friends, and you get to have a lot of bonding conversations, and you get to put in a lot of time outside, which is always nice no matter what the weather is, and you get to see your fitness goes up. I think everything that is out there about what it takes to do one I don't think that there's any way around it. You need to put in the work. You need to put in the time. I don't think that there's any shortcuts you can take. You'd like to see that there is a shortcut or know that there is, but the truth is you have
Yeah.
to respect
Mhm.
the distance, respect the training, respect the race. And when you do that, you'll see that you kind of have to put in that time and effort into building into that race, and that's what it took. And you have to have, depending on your situation, those conversations, because it's one thing to have those conversations, another thing to see them come true. Like it really takes like a team and a village to support if this is something you're going to
Yeah.
commit to, and still have other commitments like family or a job or both. And
Mhm.
and then, for everyone, it depends on what they have. Obviously everyone's different, but then like you really start to see and appreciate how much that other person has to pick up, because you're just wasted from training sometimes
Yeah.
or all the time. But if you put in the work and you check all the boxes, yeah, you get to the race feeling like you've done all the things that you can do to be ready.
What surprised you the most about the training? Or what were you, let's say, like, what were you not prepared for?
I don't
or
think I
was there
wasn't
anything?
surprised at all about training. I think what's interesting to to accept all the time is like you have a plan, you have a training, and we keep saying like control the controllables, and whatever you can't control just happens. And I had, pretty blown out conversations where I was like upset because I just felt like it wasn't going completely, and Greg's like, no, it's fine, just keep going and keep doing it. And I got COVID like 2 weeks out. I don't, yeah, something
Yeah, I mean, it
crazy
was
like that.
like,
And I was like,
Maybe
Greg,
not
this is
even.
the peak ride. Like, like, no. And he's like,
yeah, I mean,
Just-
can we
just-
set the stage? Because this was like, it
No-
couldn't, it was, so, okay, taper is supposed to start on, I think, Monday. This
Yeah.
is the Saturday before that.
peak
I,
The
ride.
last-
I had the last big ride scheduled. Now, the
Mhm.
week prior was the week I had planned for your last big run,
Mhm.
right? And he says to me, I think I need another bigger run. I really need to get a certain number
Yeah.
in mileage to feel confident.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't think you do, but if it's if
If you
your
can.
head needs to be there,
Yeah.
then you do need it, right? And so I think all week you were thinking about, like, I think it was a 6.5 or 7 hour bike ride,
Mhm.
and then an 18-mile run
Mhm.
the next day.
Yep.
And I remember getting a text from you halfway through your 7 hour bike ride, and you're like, I'm done. I had to have Jenny come pick me up.
Yeah, we were in Harriman, and I literally like I learned for myself what it would mean to just be done and like fall over on the bike. Like that
Yeah.
was not a thing. I just couldn't take another stroke. Like it took it out of me. And then we had already been going for three and a half. I don't remember, something like that.
Yeah, because we just got to the Dunkin' Donuts there right on
We
17.
rode into Harriman.
Oh, yeah.
We did a loop there, right? The longer Long Meadow, which we call now the long.
long
Longer.
Long meadow.
Longer
Long
meadow.
Long
Super
Meadow.
long meadow.
And then when we got to to One Hill and Dunk, I was like, I can't. There's nothing.
I
can
knew
do.
something was wrong when, like, 10 minutes out, like, we're just leaving Ridgewood. Like, Rich is sweating profusely. Like, he looked
He
like
doesn't
me.
usually sweat
Yeah,
much.
and he's, like, talking to me, and he's just, like, sweating, but, like,
yeah.
bullets. I was
Yeah.
like, wow.
And me and him are texting back and forth after you got home, and you're like telling me what you feel like, and I'm like,
Go get
just take a COVID test for me.
You just go get a test. Yeah.
And then, like, what, an hour and a half, 2 hours later, you just text me back, positive. And I'm like, and I'm broken on the inside, but I'm like, fuck yeah, Dr. Greg. Like,
Yeah, he was
way
like,
to call it.
Yeah, he called it, and I took a test. Yeah.
But I mean, so even that, like, that could have broke you. You could have just said,
Yeah.
fuck it, like, we're not doing it.
That's kind of, and I was on that kind of thing, and you learn that you really can't control everything, as we
Oh, you
talk
can't?
more about the race. And then you kind of also learn a lot about yourself in that race. Like that's the big takeaway. Like what
Mhm.
I learned, it takes to do that event, right? Like I remember actually thinking back to what Matt Schuster said. He's like, the training's not that much different, but the race is also like it's not necessarily more physical, it's also mental. It's so much more mental. And and that's kind of how I felt at the race too,
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, I got through that, and it was so much more mental, as we talked about throughout the season than that. So I think that was kind of one big takeaway. And I think the theme of the rain was there, but also for me, the theme was I couldn't get out of my hamstring injury.
Yeah.
So I never got
Yeah.
comfortable doing any race pace efforts. Even when we did Western Mass, I just walked the hills. But like it also teaches you that anything is possible, and you just kind of manage along.
Isn't that the
and you can-
Ironman slogan too?
Is it?
Yeah. I
Anything's
think so.
possible.
So
You're
you get to the
drinking the
start
Kool-Aid
line.
now.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. You get to the start line and you're doing it. But I definitely, the training and the season was far from perfect, but it was what it was, and
Yeah.
it is doable. And everything they say about it, I don't think. I was like, oh no, that's not true. It's hard. There's a lot to do. Got to try to do as much of it as you can. I'm sure there are people out there who can wake up one morning, just go out and do an Ironman. You see them on TikTok and Instagram, but that's not me.
Yeah. And I also think like we went into this with the idea of not just doing it to survive. It was doing it to finish and feel like you accomplished something, but didn't have to die in the process.
Yeah.
You know, and you guys for sure, I think, were able to do that with the training that you did.
One other thing that I'll finish on before I turn it over to, I want to hear James talk, is it was totally true about the fact of like, even if the race didn't happen, the training is what is more sticking out in my head than the race.
Than the
Yes,
race,
the race
yeah.
is memorable. 100%. I can tell you everything about that race and the horrible porta potty stories and how we stopped in, what town we stopped in afterwards and all that stuff. Like I could tell you every transition. I remember walking out of transition and I hadn't noticed we passed the timing mat. So I'm like looking, I'm like, do we start the watch? Do we start the run? Is this when I start the run? And everybody's like, just run. So, I mean, there's I could tell you that, but more of what led up to it than the actual thing.
Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely like on that day, you're just showing what you've put
What
in.
you've done.
For me, I will say I don't think that it's what I've done in that past year. I think it
it's
was
more than that.
3-4 years for
Sure.
me.
All right, James, your turn. Let's just do the build up to the race.
The
and then
build up to the
we'll
race?
talk about the race.
So yeah, it was just a lot of volume. It was,
Yeah, you did more work like by far than you've ever done before.
I think we hit
Much.
some like 15 and even like
not
18.
some, like most weeks were 15 plus.
yeah, it
And
was
I think
it
you
was solid.
maxed out at 17 and a half or 18. Yeah.
And we hit some pretty good run volume. Like I think
Yeah.
I had said I wanted to be like 40 to 50 miles a week running, and I think we hit that several times. And not getting injured, which was really good. So I think it's like really awesome programming. Just staying within myself. I guess I have to say like this type of training really suits me. Like I don't like hurting during training. Like I don't like
You say
I don't
that
like
so
burning.
much.
Like I
I
don't like
know.
I don't like my muscles
Yeah.
having to feel like they're giving a lot of effort. So like so much of it was just zone 2. Like even like race pace is not much higher than like zone 2, maybe zone X.
Right.
Not barely any tempo stuff. So
Yeah.
I think it just like suited my person. I don't know my person, but what I like.
Right.
The hardest stuff was probably in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and then as we got closer and closer to the build, it was just time.
Did you enjoy the training and the time and like all that aspect of it? Because from the outside, like
It looks like you
looking in,
did.
it did seem like you enjoyed
Yeah.
the process a lot.
I think I have to say, just the timing of the race worked well with my situation because my wife's a teacher, so she was off for the whole summer, and that's when we did like a lot of the work. So I had more flexibility.
Yeah.
My work schedule, there's 3 out of the 5 days I'm here, I don't have to come in until noon, so I can get some like good work done
Yeah.
before then. And the other days I'm here early, so I finish at 3, so then I can get that second workout
Mm-hmm.
in after work. So just I almost feel like it was like unfair, like just it just like suited my
So
schedule
unfair.
perfectly. And my wife was 100% on board.
Yeah.
And yet being summer and her not working, it just gave me so much more flexibility. So
Yeah. Total shout out to the support crew.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a lot.
And I think like what hopefully it comes out across in the podcast is like the two of you had totally different kind of situations. Like you were working, Rich, your typical 9 to 5 with a huge commute and getting work done, and training volume wasn't quite where James's was, but still got plenty of work in to be able to have a successful day and feel good about it. And then James, you were able to and wanted to maximize the time you had available to train, and were able to kind of push to new levels. And I think, like, I don't know about surprise yourself on race day, but put forth a really great day.
Good.
So I think it's not just, it has to be 18 or 20-hour weeks, and like there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, and I think you guys showed that was the case.
Yeah, and it's not like not a binary outcome. Like there's
No.
shades. Like it just depends on how do you want to feel on race day. And so like I think anyone who's been doing like halves or has been in triathlon for several years, like you can finish the Ironman in that time cut. It's just like how destroyed do you want to feel afterwards? Like that's what. So like how enjoyable do you want that day to be? So the more time and prep you can put in, then you're going to feel more pleasant afterwards. But if you just say, like, if you're like, I'm going to finish it no matter what and go in with a very minimal, like you could do it. You just might be like paralyzed
And
for
you'll
like
be out there longer.
You're going to be out there for a long time. And if the weather conditions, though they were raining, was very comfortable that day. So it wasn't a blisteringly hot day, which could have destroyed us.
We'll get there.
It wasn't freezing. Like it was just right. So, like just having the preparation was perfect. And I think my biggest fear was that like, I was like, I hope I don't enjoy this race too much, because then I'm going to want to do
You're gonna wanna do a
more
lot
of
of them.
them. And I think that's where
It didn't matter
stood.
what that race went like. He's just going
He's
to
gonna
want to
wanna
do
do more.
Yeah.
Well, part of me was going to be
Definitely.
like, oh, if it was a terrible experience, I'm one and done. I did it. It's done. Got it out of my
You'd
system.
have a bone to pick.
But now I'm like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Like,
What, like hours after he was back, he said maybe to me. So
I was like, yeah, if you guys deferred to Chattanooga, like, I was trying to figure out a way to
get it
do it
going.
back to back years.
Yeah. I saw that coming from a mile away.
But I won't. It's too much.
So Marilyn, you want to talk about you and how things went, or no? Up to you.
No, I can. I don't even know where to start. Jeez. So we ended last season, ended really well, and literally from the night we got home and and most of this year was just like downhill with struggles with my son, and it was just really hard. Like you guys both mentioned, a lot of support. So not having that makes it difficult. So and then I turned 50 and my body was just like all kinds of things were off, and I took quite a bit of time off after Western Mass, and kind of I had a big year last year, so I wanted to rest and get ready for this year, and I thought that would be all I needed, and it just nothing ever really felt right. And I think I just had too much stress at home and work, and then the training, and I kept trying and trying and trying. And finally, I think it was July, I was like, it's not happening. I even, I kept having issues with my hamstrings. I think even like my body was like, this can't happen this year.
Yeah, I mean, because one thing to like, if your body is willing, but like you're having stress, then that's tough. And then, or it's another thing if you're, not stressed out, but your body's not helping, but both of them are against
and
you.
I had, the past 3 years were extremely difficult. And I think I never kind of took the time. I like dove into triathlon and sport, and it helped me in a lot of ways, but also like I just needed to chill out for a little bit.
And there's something like you can't just keep having peak years every year, right? And like some years are like last year was great, amazing, and this year wasn't. And it was kind of like for some other people, last year wasn't as great, but this year it was amazing. Like Yvonne had an amazing year this year.
Right.
It wasn't even like peaking. Like even it got to a point where even just like going out for a run was like, it was just, I had so many other things in my life going on that I couldn't I couldn't even just separate from everything.
Mm.
So it was just stress on top of stress on top of stress. And I'm so like wired to want to perform and want to do all these things that then that was adding additional stress, because then I was like beating myself up for not being able to do it.
Yeah.
And it was just like a bad cycle.
Did you lose like the joy and the fun of it during that time?
Yeah, even it got to a point where, because I knew that I was feeling so awful, that when I would see the workout, I was like, I don't know. I know I'm going to feel awful doing this.
Mhm.
Like I just knew it going in. So it was a lot. Like it was in my head. And maybe if I hadn't been thinking that way, I wouldn't have felt so awful. But I was going into it knowing I was not going to feel good.
Mm.
Yeah.
Or assuming, we should say probably, that I wasn't going to feel good. So I never did.
Just never got in that groove.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, because I know usually like, when we're on our like bike rides, you're right up in front with Greg.
And it started before I even realized. And I think it was just I had too much stress in my life. Like I physically couldn't
Yeah.
do things that I could prior. Like my body just couldn't.
And if you're like stress, like cortisol levels are high,
Yeah,
like your
I
body's
think-
not recovering
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think, it took me a while also to realize that I was probably going into perimenopause, and all kinds of things, wreak havoc on a woman's body during that. So I think that played a role. It was just, like Greg said, a perfect storm.
Yeah,
Like
right.
so many things just came to a head,
Yeah. Yeah. It's important to
And-
be kind to yourself for sure.
Yeah. And I kept
Glad you did.
trying to and
And
it just
doesn't-
wasn't happening.
and it doesn't end well.
And some people can just enjoy, and I wish I was the type of person that could just go out there and just enjoy it. Right. And for me, it's always about like performance and, can I do better than last time, and can I get better? And so that makes it difficult when I'm, when it's not happening.
Has that changed at all? Do you think you're still always, if you're gonna do it, like you gotta
Yeah.
do it well?
Yeah. I've thought about that a lot, because so I ended up taking, most of the summer off. I think July, I told you guys I was out and I was quitting, and I didn't exercise at all practically again until September.
Okay.
And coming back from such a long break has been so humbling.
The heart rates you told me.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I went for my first run, and in less than a minute, my heart rate was at 155, which for me, that's my racing heart rate. That's my heart rate on a 70.3, So for me, that was, I think I didn't run again after that. And that was only I think I only ran 2 miles maybe. I went home and I was like, it's over.
You're like, F this.
Yeah. Then I picked it up again, and it's a long process. It's hard. You got to be patient. And, I'm trying.
So yes, you have to be
Here we go.
I'm
super competitive, or are you enjoying? Do you think you can enjoy? Just
I don't
doing
know if
something,
I
going through the
can
motions?
enjoy racing and not trying to be competitive at it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are that way.
Yeah. I wish I didn't have to be, but I think from day one, I did Ridgewood 5K, and when I saw there was a podium, I'm like, that's it. I want to see how close I can get to that podium every time I
Yeah.
race, and that's always been my thing. So I don't know. Right now, I think I'm just trying to get to a place where I can feel like I can train again. Like I still some days don't feel like I enjoy it, and I want to, but I don't know. Like it's hard to figure out your body.
Do you think it's
It's
a
changing.
process? Like you have to first get to that place where you just enjoying it, and then it's like, okay, that's halfway there,
And that's
then
where I
I'm
am.
gonna be like on the podium. That's full way there.
Yeah.
It's not like you're not
N-
that, but
yeah.
it's like you can't just go from I sat on the couch for 3 months, can't run 2
Right.
miles. Oh, I want to be competitive.
Right. And that's
But-
why I'm not I haven't signed up for any races. Like James talked to me about races, and I was like, I'm
Every
not
day.
thinking about I'm not thinking about that right now. So right now that is my goal, just to get back to training regularly and, getting over feeling bad about myself when it's so far from where I was. Because that's been hard too, when I go for a run and I was trying to, I couldn't even run for, I can't run for like 10 minutes and without my heart rate shooting up. So,
Yeah.
But there's a part of you, like for me, I've really learned, like if I don't have something on like a race scheduled, I can't get into the training as much.
that could be. And I've thought of that. Yeah, that might help me. I
I need to sign up for something as soon as possible.
Or
maybe.
or it could be the opposite.
Like, so I
No.
haven't, yeah, I haven't signed up because
Okay.
I am like,
Okay.
I don't know. I have this fear that I'll never be able to.
Mm.
That's an interesting
Be.
thing to think about. And that's a hard thing for all of us to come to grips with.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think any of us are at this point, but every athlete gets to the point where their peak has passed.
Yeah.
And then how do you continue? And I don't have the good answer for that, but how do you continue to motivate yourself when you're not there, right?
Mhm.
So
No.
you get what I'm saying that, but
I do.
like imagine you're an Olympian, like
He's pointing at me for the record.
Right.
Just to be clear,
Imagine
for
you're
all the
Olympian.
listeners, he's pointing at
Such as
me.
Rich.
rhythmic gymnastics, 1992 Barcelona, buddy. I saw you
What's
there.
the one where they
Um,
swim and they do the?
Synchronized swimming?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's,
That's no
you.
joke.
That's you.
Yeah. But like, so you're an Olympic athlete. Do you keep doing it? Like, I know a lot of them keep exercising, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do they keep competing
Yeah.
when their best is past them, when they can't ever reach that,
Yeah, what's the
PR
point?
time, right? Like,
Right.
and especially
I
when
don't
you're an
think so.
elite athlete like that, and you've focused so much on a performance goal,
Right.
right, as opposed to like a process goal.
Right.
Can you recalibrate for?
Like, I don't
don't know.
necessarily.
I had to.
I don't know. I don't think that I could be, let's say, as fast as I once was, but I want to be kind of still competitive for the
For sure.
age that I'm
Yeah.
at. And some days, I'll go out for my little run, and I'm like, I don't know if I'll even ever be able to do that. So, and I don't know why, and I'm still like figuring things out. Life at home is much better. So now it's just kind of figuring out what's going on with my body and
Well, that's good
So,
because that's
and-
obviously the most important part.
yeah. And the home part was the most difficult part. Like that was the one part where I couldn't separate from.
Mm.
So I would go to a workout and I couldn't. Normally I would be able to turn everything off, and that was kind of my savior. Like
Yeah.
Ironman training and triathlon was kind of like the one thing I can control in my life.
And it's like usually like training and exercise is like a stress reliever.
Yeah,
Which
also,
is, like,
it
what you
was
need,
a stress, right? It
but
was
then if
stress
it's not doing-
reliever. It was something I could control when everything else was like so crazy and out of my control. But then now it got to a point where
Yeah. It's tough when like then if like the thought of the workout and the training becomes another stressor,
and that's what happened.
then it's too much
Mhm.
at that
Mhm.
point.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at, trying to get back. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I want to. I look at my bike every day when I get home, and I'm like, oh,
Yes.
love her.
Yes.
So
I mean, if you guys just want me to sign you guys up for things, instead,
You'd be the new Jerry.
I was going to say anything you need for support, and then James goes, "Well, I'll just sign you up for races."
that might be easier.
he's texting me. He's like, so do you think you're gonna do?
I need like if I hear a little sliver of someone wanting to do something, then it's like it's gotta like you gotta fan the
It's
flames.
like, let me show you.
Yeah.
I've signed up for A, B, C, D.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my goal, I do want to get back to it. I want to get back to a place where I feel good when I'm training.
So one day at a time
Yeah.
Yeah.
and build on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, build a wall.
So,
Build a
one,
wall.
one brick at a time.
mhm.
I just started listening to a Dean Karnazes book,
Yeah.
and he talks about you're just making deposits into a bank. So like
Yeah.
training, you're making deposits; racing, you're withdrawing. And so it's
Yeah.
like oh, that's a really good analogy because
So you're in the red this
Well,
week.
I was wondering in my head, I was like, oh, how many like 2-week marathons can I do? I was like, just wondering in my head.
Yeah.
But then when I heard that line, it's like, oh no, like I'm going to be overdrawn
Yeah.
soon, so I got
Yeah.
to start depositing. Because I was looking at my training piece, I'm like, the fitness number keeps going down and down. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Like you can't just keep. And when I heard that analogy, it's like, okay, that makes sense. Like eventually, there's nothing to draw on anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like we just got to just start
Yeah.
making your deposits and
Mhm.
then see where you're at. But for me, it's like I don't want to make deposits unless I know
Right.
a bill is due in June.
That's a great. I
You
like
know,
that
so
way of
like-
thinking
Yeah.
about it. You know, like it's almost like you're trying. You wouldn't save money if you didn't have a vacation on the calendar that you
Yeah.
needed to. You know,
Yeah.
you wouldn't put away. You know, it's like the people who paid for Christmas gifts on layaway kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
you know you want that thing, so you got to put the money
I
away
think
for it.
also that though is something that scares me also, and why I haven't signed up, because I've never quit and like not done a race ever, and that was a hard decision. Like I tried to do it like a month prior to when I actually like shut everything down and didn't, and then when I finally did it, I felt awful about it.
And you thought actually, and then when you first said you weren't going to, you revived it
I did
until you
until I
like
just
your calf
like,
started hurting.
Yeah, and I just realized like, all right, it's not working. Like
Yeah.
my body, everything is telling me you need to stop.
Mm.
So the fact that I quit now, like I don't ever want to have to do that again. So I'm like afraid
Mm.
of committing to something that I can't do.
Mm. Oh man, that's a tough spot.
Yeah.
No,
So
it's not.
that's part of what.
It's okay. You can just build that wall. Deposit the what is it?
Yeah.
Deposit
So
the
that's
checks.
why I like right now I feel like I need to like save.
Yeah.
Until I feel like I'm in a good place, because I still
We'll
don't
we'll
feel
build
like
a podium
I'm in
for you and we'll create a race somewhere.
Yeah.
We got you.
All right, so this be like every day put
Yeah.
that dollar away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll
But you
see.
still have to think about what you want to save up for.
I know what I want to save up for.
Okay,
You know what I want to save up for.
in June.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
good. Yes, all right, plenty of time. But you got to choose soon, though, right?
I know.
don't
I gotta like. Yeah. This is it.
You're doing it. It's happening.
It's happening.
You need it.
See. Yeah.
That would be the first step in your triumphant return.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Bottom of your age group. Yes or
Yes.
no?
Yes. Youngest in my
Yes.
age group.
Yes.
No, last
no,
year.
no,
Oh.
no. I will be 51 next year.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then Maryland was around July, right? Right after your vacation, I think.
That's when I backed out. Yeah. Yeah. it was
and
like
then
right after-
Greg was still training,
Yeah.
He
Yeah, I
was-
think it was like early August, maybe.
coming out on the bikes, rides. I don't know if you were swimming much.
I wasn't swimming.
He wouldn't be swimming anyway.
Yeah, he wasn't.
It was a
It's
down.
gonna-
I mean,
we just
Yeah.
put that out
I
there.
mean,
He wasn't
honestly, like,
planning
let's
to
look at
swim
the
much.
situation. I would have been okay.
Yeah.
without swimming.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
I just
Well, go
well,
ahead.
were you like training? Like was plan training?
Yeah, I had stuff planned, and like, I was definitely kind of behind. I think Western Mass was okay. Like I was in a okay spot there. Numbers and stuff were decent. And then like as soon as I guess like the end of the school year and summer, in my head was like this chance to like double down. And I know that's not the right way to do it, right? But like when I see my calendar and I'm like,
That's
work
when it's
stops,
open.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it just didn't the way I had planned for it. And I think the whole season I had kind of set like little goals for myself as far as certain things to go. And I hadn't been meeting those, whether it be like training hours or weight loss or, performance numbers and stuff like that. Like I was missing things and I wasn't seeing improvement the way I thought I should be. And I should have just like listened to myself and been like, nothing's linear, like yada, yada, yada. It's whatever. But I got in my head. And I just like felt like I was pissing like into the wind kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it never was going my way. And I like my way was just this construct I had in my head, not anything tangible. And then we went on a run. It was a group of us. It was-
Koichi, James, me, and you.
yeah, we
around
left
here
from,
somewhere?
Yeah, we left from Westwood, and it was like decently long. I think like 2.5
yeah.
hours. It rained on us.
A couple of times.
There's yeah.
Again.
Rain again.
And it was the first. I think it was the first long run I did with some kind of pace in it, and I did like 5 by 1K at
Oh.
goal pace.
Oh, that's when you and Koichi
Yeah,
went
took
ahead
off.
and me and Rich
That's right. That's
Yeah.
the one.
were
Um,
behind.
And like I hit everything, right? Like I hit exactly where I wanted to be, but I felt like absolute shit. for like 4 days afterwards.
I remember Koichi commented, he's like, whoa, Greg was like keeping up with me that day.
Yeah, and I was like, I need to kind of. It was like a gut check for me that day, and I was like, I need to really see, like, am I just joking with myself at any of this, or am I like I needed that gut check that day, and I finished, and I hit everything I wanted to hit, but I didn't feel great doing it, and I also felt really bad for the next couple of days. Like, I dug myself a hole, and I'm like, I don't think I can keep building on this based on what I felt like after that. And that was like the first kind of like chink in the armor where I was like, I don't know that. Stop.
Are you offended?
No, he's Korean. Yeah, and I think that was like the first point where I was like, okay, maybe this is more than I can do. And it just got to a point kind of similar to what Marilyn was saying, but like, I don't have the, she had good excuses for, like, no, she did, like, legit, like the stress that she was going through and injuries. I had none of that. Like, all of it, a lot of it was all of it was like self-imposed.
So if you had to do it again, would you self-impose that on yourself?
I don't know that I can't not do that. Like, in my personal.
Yeah.
I also think you also had like the reverse situation of me. Like, you were like my wife. Like, you were home from work, but you had all the responsibility of getting the kids everywhere to camp, shuttling them around,
different
doing
camps
stuff
too, and different activities.
So,
So like I'm dropping at one camp, I'm dropping at another camp.
So like, if your wife had wanted to say like, I'm going to train for an Ironman, like, you had the home situation locked down, and she could have done training when she got off from work. Versus,
I don't want to play it off that way, because that's like I had time. Like, I could have.
Okay.
I could. Thank you, though.
I think he was just trying to get Claire into it. I'm sorry. Like, I think he's just
not my
roping
wife's
her in.
fault at all. No, I just.
Not that her fault, but like, you had a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, but none of those responsibilities should have gotten in the way if I was, if I was focused on the task at hand, and I just wasn't able to, for whatever reason. And this is something I struggled. Like, this is my normal struggle. Like, this is something I have to focus on, and like, this is a thing that I have to figure out. And not just in training and stuff like that. Like, I have this kind of issue in a lot of things. So that's what happened. I got to a point where I started questioning whether I'd be able to, and again, whether I'd be able to do it the way I wanted to do it. And it wasn't to be a 15-hour finisher who walks 3/4 of the marathon. Like, I probably could have done that, and been okay, but I didn't want to do that.
You wanted it to be like an enjoyable experience. Like, finishing it, just like surviving it would not have been
enjoyable.
Yeah, surviving wasn't the goal. It was never the goal. And so as soon as the idea of like, I don't want to use the word thrive, because, I don't think it would have been that. But I didn't want to, I don't even know how to put it into words, what I wanted that day to be like.
Well, you also had mentioned too that you had said when this goal first came into your head that you would have been satisfied with getting through the training and completing all that, and if the race didn't happen, you would have been satisfied with the training. So, do you think part of it was like, if you didn't,
was the training was 100%? And that was every day I missed, or every day I wasn't able to put in the full effort. It was like, well, what, great, I'll still be able to finish. So like, the goal isn't, the destination's not changing, but the way I got there was.
Yeah, like, you would shortchange the experience.
Yeah, the experience. So I tried to hang on as long as I could. I kept like trying to go with you guys on the big rides and stuff like that. But I just like, I at a certain point, my heart wasn't in that journey anymore. And so I decided to pull the plug, and similar to Marilyn, just took an extended break. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how to get back into, a training routine, and it's going to have to start small. And like, I stepped on the scale today, and I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the other thing.
It's like, shit, bring up the Clydesdale division. This guy is, maybe that should be my goal next year, is just
dominate,
clean up the Clydesdale division at every local race. But I don't know.
I never used to weigh myself ever. Just never really was in a situation where I needed to. And when all this stuff started happening, and like a lot of times we'd go out and I'd be like, I can't make it up a hill. Like every hill's killing me. And then, later on in the summer, I weighed myself and I was like, oh, well, when you're 5'1" and you gain like
Another one.
another another 12 pounds, that
Yeah.
has a big effect too. So yeah, that
Well, you guys were definitely like, we missed you guys so much.
I missed it. Yeah.
I think he's basically saying he doesn't want to hang out with just me anymore on those long rides.
Dude,
I
had a
mean,
lot of
that,
bench time.
that was a big part of
He
what I
needs
missed
variety.
was like,
Yeah.
that camaraderie and like hanging out with you guys and stuff was definitely a big part of, the thing that kept me trying to hang on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I
Same.
just like, I don't know, like there were,
I think it's for the scheduling also. Like I said, like, yes, you had time, but the times where we were going out to ride, like you would either had to do drop offs or pickups, so you would have to do it by yourself.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
would make sense.
I mean, but again, like still that's passing off the blame on anything other than me. And that wasn't the case. Like I take 100%, like this was 100% on me, not getting it done. If I wanted to make it the most important thing to me, I would have, and I didn't for whatever reason. So, that's something I have to decide. Like, where does that balance? Like I got to tell you, whenever I pulled the plug, I think I was on vacation when I kind of.
I was
So maybe
thinking
It was
vacation.
like
is
maybe
a big-
vacation. It
I
was
thought
like
you were
August
you were
when
away,
you,
right?
Yeah, it was the beginning of
was it
August.
August?
Where'd you
The
Where'd you
kids-
go?
We went
The
down the
shore,
shore. We
right?
went down to Brigantine.
Same.
You were at the
Yeah, I was
shore?
down
Yeah.
the shore
The
too.
Jersey
No
Shore
more.
is bad.
No more
for-
going to the
yeah.
shore.
Was crying at the pier.
I wasn't crying. I actually like it was. I had a blast. Like my kids were done with camp, and the month of August was great. Like
Did you feel relief almost, or
Yeah.
after?
I did.
Hmm.
And relief just in that like I didn't need to stress about trying to do something that I at that point had come to the conclusion like I know I couldn't have done the way I wanted to do. So like holding on to that and then thinking like, oh, maybe, maybe just really buckle down for the next 4 weeks. Like I knew that wasn't happening. I was just lying to myself. So yeah, when I decided and I told you guys, like it was a relief. It was disappointing. I felt disappointed in myself for not being able to do it. But at the same time, I also realized that like, no matter what I had done from like that day, if that's August 1st, from August 1st to September 29th, I could have done everything right. It still wouldn't have fixed
Not enough.
the 5 months prior that I had been neglecting stuff.
Mhm.
So like you said, maybe it's that journey, not the destination. And I had neglected that. So I need to figure that part out a little
Yeah.
bit better.
I think in an Ironman, the journey is so much more important, even
it's
than
like-
than
So that's what I was trying. The point I was trying to get across. You're right. Like you can't like cut corners in a way. It's
not
like
in that
No,
kind of
you can't.
race.
y-
You can't.
You can do certain things, and certain things aren't going to go right. And you're going to have blah blah blah. But you really have to build the foundation. Otherwise, the
Yeah.
house isn't going to.
Yeah,
can't
it's
build the
too
rooms
much
on it.
to
And I think what I learned through this, and like getting to work with you guys and stuff, was that it's not just the physical foundation. Like there's a lot more to that, foundation than just the physical aspect of turning
much.
boxes green in Training Peaks,
Mhm.
and I've said it before that, stress is stress, but like, I think when you really push the limits, that becomes so much more true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's taught me a lot as a coach to kind of like learn those kind of things and like try to learn from mistakes that I've made with myself, mistakes that I've made with athletes, like those kind of things that I need to be more aware of, and look at things much more holistically than just, what's this week's workouts.
Do you think coaching yourself is
You keep trying to say this. I think you're trying to. I think you're
It's
trying to
gotta
get my.
be hard because
It's
you
like the
know,
lawyer that
Um,
represents
I-
himself.
Yeah.
Like
It's. Yes, I agree with you.
I think Greg would blow off his coach much quicker.
Yeah, and that's what. What I was going to say was I have to
he's
figure
too
out.
smart.
No,
No, not that. Not in that way.
He's like, no, he's a freaking idiot.
Not he's
Um,
an idiot, but he would just be like, "I'm not." That doesn't matter what this coach
Right.
says.
Whatever
Yeah.
whatever
I'm
the
not in.
case is, at the root cause, I have to get that discipline to a spot where I'm going to do the work.
mhm.
And whether you're prescribing workouts or Marilyn's prescribing workouts or I'm doing it, doesn't matter at this point. if I can get my discipline to a spot where, yes, I'm hitting workouts, I'm performing well, then maybe there's something to that argument. But right now there's not. That's not the case. Right now it's just me figuring out a way. Like, I never, ever read self-help books. My wife has a bedside table full of them, right? I bought Atomic Habits, and I'm like, I got it. And she looks at me as I'm reading it at night, and she's like, what are you doing? She's like, you bought that? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, we have it down on the bookshelf. But I'm like, I need to figure something out. I need to, like, I don't know. So maybe when I get to the end of the book, I'll have figured it out. But right now it's just,
I mean, it has to come from within.
Yeah.
It can't be
And
forced
that's
on
what I'm
you.
saying. It doesn't matter whether whoever's prescribing it, it doesn't matter. Like, I put a lot of thought into my own plan.
Yeah, it's sound.
Right.
It's not like you're questioning.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Maybe
I just have
for
to actually
me,
do it.
I used to think it was more like I'm super compliant. Like, if someone tells me, like a coach is telling me to do something, I'm going to do it no matter what. But I also think it's like, I also hate wasting money. So like, I mean, I spend money, but I hate like
So you're thinking we need a
wasting money.
monetary like commitment?
possibly
that-
like
that,
so for me, it's like if I'm paying whatever money I'm paying for monthly coaching, and
Right.
I'm paying to get these workouts sent to me,
Yeah.
and getting monitored and whatever. And if I don't do them, like, well, why am I spending this money?
Yeah.
It could be $1 or $1,000. Like, I don't want to
Right.
waste.
And I
Yeah.
think I'm at the point now where I'd just be like, all right, I quit. Like, I'm going to stop. You
So
know?
I feel like, you should just like come up with the program.
Mhm.
Just say I'm your coach, and I'll say it's $1,000 a month.
And I'll say, screw you.
And
I'm
if you
paying
do the
$1,000.
workout-
That's
Or-
not working.
if you
that
do the
Nirvana
workouts-
Or what they
experience?
do is they put $20 each in a pot or whatever, $50 each in
Yeah.
a pot.
It's gotta hurt.
And at the end of the month, whoever hits the greens gets the money, and then
If you pay,
I like Rich's plan.
you pay me
That's good.
$1,000, but if you do all the workouts, you get all the $1,000 back.
Yeah.
It's you just gotta like risk something. Like it's gotta hurt to not do it. It's
Yeah.
gotta be more painful to not do the
Yeah, that's
workout.
what, isn't that what Christian
to-
Blumenfeld says? It hurts more to lose.
Yeah, but we're like 10 times more averse to losing than to gaining.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people would rather
Yeah, that
not
makes
lose
sense.
$10 than win 100.
Yeah,
think
I don't
I'm-
know. I have to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Like, that's my job for me.
We gotta do
Or-
one of those like ayahuasca.
Is that where we eat mushrooms or cactuses?
and
something.
then,
Yeah.
then
Okay.
you have
You gotta, like,
hallucinations.
You gotta
and-
find yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
Need
Or-
I'm
a
worried what I might find.
triathlon like retreat.
no, I know exactly what you need to do. It's
This
an
should be
ultra
good.
marathon.
Yeah.
Oh my
You-
God.
I'll tell you.
You learn a lot
You know,
about yourself.
we're talking about, like, your 50 miler is intriguing to me.
Yes.
You always say that you'd
I'm
like
about
to
to
do
sign
an
up.
Yeah.
ultra.
I'm actually
You signed
You're
up
gonna
already?
sign up, you said?
someone is convincing me to do the 100K instead because
Oh,
I was like 50K to 50 miles seems like a big jump, and this person was like, you know what? After 50K, like the extra miles doesn't. It's like
Yeah.
they're all the same.
It's like a
Then I was like, well, then from 50K to 100K,
more than
It's
double.
twice.
I mean, from
62
50 miles to
from
100.
50 miles to 100K
Right.
is
Oh.
only like a 12-mile difference. So I was like,
Yeah,
at that point, I might as
62
well
miles.
Yeah.
Hmm.
just do the 100 because you get a belt buckle. I don't even
I thought
care
you
about
get a
belt
belt
buckle.
buckle at 100.
They do it for 100K or higher,
Oh, okay.
Oh.
at least at this race.
Okay.
Where is this race?
It's in Long Island.
Long
not too
Island.
bad,
It's
yeah.
a nice rate, nice course.
Hmm.
Barely any elevation, 432 feet of elevation per loop.
Oh, that's nothing.
And it's all like in
oh,
one
it's
spot.
all
I think.
loops?
10 and a half
Yeah,
mile
10 and a
loops.
half mile loops.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Tesla
okay.
Hertz run. I'm like 99% I'll do it. Just whether between.
Well, I tell you
Anyway,
what.
whatever,
Why don't
that's-
you give me $1,000, and if you do it, you can have it back.
That's the easiest.
That's easy. He's
that's the
making
easiest
that money
$1,000.
back.
It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's not my
So you're
motivation.
He
more
just
than
said he's
99,
99%.
right? So you're
That's
more
a-
than
that's a short
99%. You're
thing.
100%.
It's just whether I'll do the 50 mile or 100K.
oh,
It's
you're
a
just
sure thing.
deciding
He's
what.
doing it.
Which,
I mean, at that
Which
one, you
one?
sign up for the 100K,
yeah.
100K.
And then
you can always
just
drop
do the
down.
50.
No, this one it's like whatever race distance you choose, you have to finish that distance. Otherwise,
No.
it's DNF.
No,
Oh.
if whatever you start, you can't drop down the day of. You should read the website.
Oh, you saw it already?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought whatever like you decide to. Well, I mean,
You could drop down 2 weeks ahead of time,
okay.
I think. Read the website. I think I
Okay.
read that.
But I do like how they said like they want everyone to finish, and they're like there's a grocery store nearby. Like if you need something, they will go out and get it for
This
Oh
you.
my
guy's
gosh,
dreaming
really?
of hot dogs on
Yeah.
the race course.
Hot dogs, hamburgers.
They have
pizza.
hot dogs on the race course?
I don't know. There's a whole guy. I think so. Ultras like they have everything.
Yeah, they have all kinds of
everything.
a lot
Like,
of trail races. Yeah.
I'm just more worried about like having to poop in the woods or something. But I guess I gotta
Oh.
learn. I guess I
Get
gotta
some paper
practice.
with you.
If you can, you can pee on the bike, you can
Wipes.
poop in the woods.
That's a
Yeah.
wholly different thing, though.
Oh,
I've never-
peeing
No,
in the
come
woods
on.
is like, who hasn't done that?
Yeah.
No, if you can pee on the bike, you can
Oh.
poop.
No,
on
that's
the-
a totally different skill.
It's-
Mm.
Just make sure you don't
It's a
poop in your
different skill
shorts.
set.
That's the only thing you have to
You
worry
got- I
about.
mean, you're vulnerable. Your like shorts are down to your ankles, and you're just like out
Oh.
there. Like
What is it like? Are the trees all grown in?
I have
When
no
is it?
idea.
What month is in it?
October.
Oh,
Well,
that can be. Could be some
Sparse,
sparse.
yeah.
No, all the trees will be on the ground. You got plenty of toilet paper. You don't even need to bring it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so can we talk about Ironman Chattanooga?
Yeah.
There's a
Sure.
lot of questions. I mean, we've kind of
Where do we
talked.
start before the race?
Okay, let's start here. Fucking Hurricane Helene rips through the southeast United
Yeah.
States.
That drive was
Um,
treacherous.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
when you guys found out the swim was canceled,
We were walking into a Mexican
No,
place.
we're just sitting. We're sitting.
we were, yeah, we just still sat.
Did they
like,
send an email? How
we
did you
walked
find
out
out?
of the car.
the app, right?
Yeah.
The app.
The tracker.
And we got texts.
We're all sitting down at the table. We had just gotten salsa from the free salsa bar. Some of it was they were a little sparse on some of the salsas, and the cups were tiny. There were no cups.
All right,
Okay.
swim canceled.
Swim is
Back on track.
canceled.
It was
Rich was, I think, angry.
I imagine so.
Rich
You
and-
know what?
Rich and
were you-
Yvonne.
I like
Rich and
Yvonne swam so much.
Yeah,
I
she
would
did.
be.
Yvonne, right?
I
Yvonne
would be
was just for the swim.
devastated.
For me, it's what.
Yvonne swam so
Right.
much.
No, I- Just
Okay,
wanted
so
it.
can we look at it this way? Let me ask you quick questions. Prior to doing an Ironman, when the swim was canceled, did you have the thoughts like, I'm not going to be doing an Ironman? Did that like go through, like, was that part like, were you like, okay, they canceled the swim, so like,
well,
I'm not really going to be an Ironman? Like,
I think that was
No.
the main. Was
for
that the
me,
main
no,
objection?
because like for me, it was learning about like you're kind of have to deal with what you're given. So there's controllables and there's non-controllables, right? Like, and so I had started to learn that lesson with getting sick 2 weeks
Mhm.
earlier. So I was like, this is not anything I could do. Like I
yeah,
literally,
but he said you got pissed.
You were like, I'd rather you.
yeah,
you
but,
wanted
but
to just
that's
not
the
do
different
it.
question. I got pissed about the
What?
swim
You
being
wanted to
canceled.
not
Right.
Sure.
That's what
Why
he
did,
said.
so
That's
why were you
different
pissed that
than-
the swim got canceled?
Because I like the swim.
Okay.
Oh my
Actually,
Not
you were
because I
hoping
did-
that the whole thing would get
Right.
canceled.
I was like, if you're going to cancel it, just cancel everything.
Okay.
and I was like, no.
No.
I was like,
You
no.
did
all that
I'm never gonna train
training.
like this.
Well, give me something else. Defer. Yeah. No,
You did all
there's-
that training.
I know,
though.
but like if
You
If-
can't.
That's how-
Imagine-
I'm
that's how
kind of
upset-
like an all in or an
That's
all
how
out.
upset
Rich, if
he
they
was, though, like-
canceled, okay,
If they
this is
canceled,
what I
that
want to
would
do.
be
I just want to
very
play
bad.
20 questions. If they canceled and they said, okay, you're deferred to, I don't know, make
A
up
month later.
Ooh,
Right.
but
Yeah,
there was no race.
There
a month
is.
later.
There's
Florida?
Arizona, or
Arizona.
Arizona.
If they said, okay, we're canceling, you're deferred to Arizona. Are you going to Arizona?
probably.
Yeah. Okay.
That's that point. You've already put in the training. This is
I know,
what I'm
but
going to
for
do.
a month
What
now
if
you
they-
got to
what
get
if they said-
now you got to like.
It's okay. I
What if
didn't
they
hit my
said-
peak.
what if
Now
they-
I can hit my
Right,
peak.
you can hit your peak,
So
yes.
What
I'm
if they said
good.
Arizona's full, Florida's full? We'll give you Texas next year in April.
Oof.
No,
Oh,
right?
in
Well, at that
April.
point, I wouldn't have had a choice, right? It was cancel, and so you got to take Texas. Texas
have
is
to.
hot. I don't like it. Like if I could do another one, I would. But
Okay. But so what I'm saying is, if there was a
Okay,
break, you would have like redone the training to get there. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
as much as I would have hated every second of it, I
okay,
think
that's
it's
what I was
that
kind
point,
of
like,
getting at. But
yeah,
all right.
like
But I
Good to
think
know.
because this, yeah. But like I said, also that's about I wanted this
Yeah.
swim was something like just goddamn cancel the run.
Not
Better.
gonna happen.
Not gonna
No.
happen.
How about you, James? What
I
was your
think-
gut instinct? Swim's canceled. Where'd your head go?
So first gut instinct, I was like, yes, I'm so happy because the only thing I was like afraid of
Yeah.
was like, what if I do have a panic attack on? Even though it's a downriver swim,
Yeah.
it's set up nicely, like
Yeah.
you just have to basically float. I was like, my biggest fear was like, I did all this training. What if I panic on the swim and I DNF right there, and like all of that was for
Oh
nothing?
my god.
That was like my biggest
Oh,
fear.
gosh.
So I was
That'd be
like,
a horrible thing to think
yeah.
about.
So that to
Yeah.
me, like, oh, that's gone now. Like,
Can I
don't-
ask you guys though? Do you think about stuff like that on
Yeah.
the other disciplines? Like,
Oh,
do you think like, oh, if I puncture, my race is done? Like,
No.
if I
Oh, I thought about mechanicals. like,
Double puncture sometimes.
God, I never
Yeah.
have any of those thoughts.
for this
I
one,
But
I
I-
did.
but-
For this one, because I feel
Hmm.
like there's like
So much
so
riding
much
on it.
invested.
Yeah.
Like actually leading up to the race, like not getting sick. Like
Yeah, you
Rich got
like
COVID.
slept alone, right?
Yeah, for the last month, I slept in my own bedroom. I like.
Wait, what do you mean your own bedroom?
Yeah.
You kicked your wife out of
No,
the
no, no,
bedroom?
no, no. I
He
went.
went to a
I
different
went to
room.
the guest.
He made
Okay.
another
I
bedroom.
slept in my own bedroom.
Okay.
He ate a
Um,
shit ton
I
of
got-
seaweed.
I got my flu shot and COVID shots
Yeah,
as soon
ahead
as
of
the new
time.
COVID shot got available. Because people at around our clinic was just
Yeah.
COVID
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
it was happening.
And
like
and you have a tendency to get COVID right before
Yeah.
a race.
Yeah, he
because
texted me, go text James, see how he's been dealing with getting sick before the
so like that. I think it was like because so much is invested at that point,
Right.
figuratively with the
Yeah.
bank deposits. Like
Yeah.
I would hate for it to just like something out of my control to
Okay.
bankrupt me. And it was like the swim was one of those risk factors. I was like, oh, like my history of panic attacks. Like I can't imagine.
But you've never had a panic attack that stopped you from finishing the swim. Like
right.
you've only had a panic attack that's like caused you to
Stop me.
pause,
Yeah.
reset, and finish.
But then like this is like a longer distance wise. It would have been if
You know what's been great though? You would have stopped swimming and still
It was
floated
still been
Still,
going.
you
at
still
One-
could have made it.
110
Yeah.
per
Look up,
100.
there's the
Yeah.
bag of potato chips.
but I felt relief and if everyone at the tape I had to read the room, they were very devastated. If it was just me, I would have like jumped to the ceiling, like
Yeah.
fist pump.
Yeah.
But to your point, I did feel like, oh, I'm gonna have to do another Ironman
Okay.
because
So now,
Yeah.
okay.
those
So
are
that
two
was
separate questions.
right. Now the follow up to that is once you finished it, did you feel like did that feeling hold true?
no,
No, right?
not
You
in the
felt
moment.
Like,
In the moment, oh my god, like when
the-
I got to that first time finisher bell thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
so pumped, and then going through that shoot was like some weird time warp. Like I almost felt like I went too fast. Like it just like there's bright lights.
Yeah.
Couldn't see anything. The energy is huge, and then like everything is just like I felt like my entire summer of training like flashed before my eyes. Like
Right.
it was like I just remember everything I did. I just remember thinking, yes, like
Yeah.
I did it, and then just you cross that line. It's like it was definitely more
Well-
than satisfying.
What
Hmm.
was the hardest part of the day? So you guys had no swim canceled because of the hurricane. The river was unsafe to swim in. Not even like there was
Yeah.
no
Apparently,
question.
two people tried swimming
Idiots.
it, and they had to
Really?
get
Idiots.
rescued.
Stop it.
Yeah,
Oh
like one
my
person almost
God.
drowned. And
There are
the
so
one person
many-
got
I know
Like
there
if
were
you
some-
looked at the river, like the shit was high.
Yeah.
Like, it was.
Yeah,
it
but
was
it
a
was
mess.
flowing way too fast.
I can't believe
I know
that.
people
That's
swam at
crazy.
like the local Y in the morning.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's just
like,
That's
I don't know.
crazy.
I don't know
That's
what that gets
unnecessary.
you. What that makes you
It's
feel.
For
2
them-
miles in the
Yeah.
grand scheme, and you did all the training.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I don't
way
know if they
more
all
than
did.
the
Like,
day of.
yeah, they might have swum the
Whatever.
time or whatever.
Right.
Like to me, it was like, no.
That's silly.
You learn that you're given this.
Yeah.
You learn that you gotta exert as much effort and ability into this as you would if there was a swim.
And the pros are racing that weekend, so like they're racing the race they were given. Like
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. I mean, Joe Skipper went to that race because of that swim. Like
Yeah.
he was.
yeah. In all honesty, like I was happy that we chose that race because the swim would have been like the easiest swim in an Ironman possible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and that also made the thing also like, but you did the hardest thing.
The
Right,
hardest.
for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's no question. I was
the
know,
hardest part of the race was 2 times. One, I was kind of done towards the last few miles of the bike. I was just kind of
and that was. I guess we
'cause
didn't
it-
mention that. Well, how far ahead of time did they change the bike on you guys? A month?
no,
Not
that-
even.
Was it a month? No, we didn't. We started hearing rumors, meaning like there was chatter
Yeah.
in the
Mhm.
in the pages, maybe a couple weeks out, and they were
Yeah.
like they're going to either. I think they said at first it was like they're going to change a part of the course or something like that,
Yeah.
and then they were like, oh, they're looking at a whole new course,
Right.
but it's going to be a gajillion elevation.
Yeah, the elevation.
Right.
People
Jumped.
were throwing out these crazy
Yeah.
numbers.
They made the
It
announcements
was
like the bike course has changed. Here's what it is, and then people started playing around on like Google Maps and
Yeah.
Garmin Connect
It's like
and stuff.
10,
I think it was
10,000.
10,000 feet of
Yeah.
climbing, and like
I was
I
like,
I called
oh.
bullshit on that quite really quick
Yeah.
because I knew I had to calm this wildfire because I knew he would have been like, "Fuck it, I'm out."
So close.
Yeah.
So close.
But I knew it wouldn't be that. So they changed the bike course on you. They
I think I
canceled.
saw it that week.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
cancel. No, it was before
No,
that.
no,
It was
we
a
had
little
some time.
before.
Yeah, they canceled the
Okay.
swim. So like, what were the challenge? What was the biggest physical challenge you guys had in the time it took? During the race.
Well,
The end of the bike with the few miles, and what they say about the run. Again, you don't get around it. Once you hit those upper miles, if you've put in the effort you've put in,
Yeah, it's gonna hurt.
it hurts.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that like you're dead, but
Mhm.
it does not feel great. And they were also there was like these hilly parts.
Yeah.
like Barton.
What do they call the Barton Hill, and then there was the Park Hill. Like you feel it more.
Yeah.
Like so those are the two for me.
I mean, the run was definitely harder than the bike. The bike went much better than I think any of us
Yeah, you guys-
expected.
You guys were
Flew-
going so fast.
flew
Me
on
and
the
Greg were
bike.
talking. I was like, they're going so fast.
Because even though there was
was-
elevation on the course, it was all rolling. So you were always building momentum because
Yeah.
it was on the highway. So
Yeah.
anyone listening, instead of going around the
You're just
city, it
going
was
straight
back and
then
forth,
back.
out and back on the
17
highway.
miles. 17
So,
miles down,
um,
17 miles back.
It was raining, which was challenging. It was pouring.
And
but yeah,
you were on the left 2 lanes, so trucks passing you by on the right, you were just
Oh,
getting
God.
like
Oh yeah. Okay.
the wind tunnel. Like I don't know, it was just yucky.
Right.
So I think the challenging thing at first was like, in my mind, I was expecting like a 7-hour bike that day.
Yeah.
And then when it started, like after getting through the first loop, I'm like, I think it's going to be shorter. I forget what the bike split was, but
Mhm.
it ended up being a lot shorter. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, Greg is going to probably have a heart attack thinking we're over
Oh, yeah.
biking right
Yeah.
now.
No.
Yeah.
100%.
I was like, then it was like as each loop went on, I was like, I'm going to go more and more. But at the same time, I was like, I don't want to
Yeah.
overbike because the run is going to be
Mhm.
tough.
Yeah.
But so you got through the bike and it was nice. And then the run, I was pleasantly surprised only because Barton is a big hill. So I was like, I'm just going to walk it.
Right.
And it was so,
Mhm.
and I almost looked forward to getting there instead of thinking, oh, I got to like run up this hill. I was like, oh, that's where my walk break is going to be.
Right.
And then just fly down the descent. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I think with all the running I did up to that point, the run was surprisingly comfortable. I didn't cramp, which was good for me, and I hit all the nutrition numbers and plenty of hydration, and it wasn't hot. That was like the key.
I think that was that was
Yeah.
the difference
That was the
maker. You
winner.
guys got
Mhm.
lucky
Yeah.
that it wasn't a hot day.
Yeah, and so,
So
it was just,
lucky.
Because I think I asked you, what would the bike have been like if it had been a hot sunny day,
Oof,
Brutal.
So hot.
right?
Yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah,
no
on
shade.
the highway with the car heat. and
Yeah, I
everything
think it
else.
would have been horrible.
like I think like a lot of the stars just aligned
Yeah.
for it to be
Yeah.
a comfortable day, and the energy on the course was great too. Because where
Yeah.
Barton was, there was like basically parties out there.
Right.
Like the people who lived there were just like drinking, cheering people on, like high energy. So like anywhere where it was difficult, there was like support on the course.
Let me ask you guys a question. So every 70.3 I've done, I don't know if it's just because of the like me as a racer where like I'm a better swimmer and a decent biker, I come onto the run with people I don't belong with. But then like by the end of the run, I'm kind of with my people, right? I know like James at certain races I've said to you like if you stick to the plan, you're going to be passing hundreds of people. What was your experience at the end like? Were you just kind of like surviving with the people you were with? Did you notice that you were I mean, because it was a loop course, so maybe you were finishing as you had much slower athletes kind of on their first loop, so that would have made it feel different. But like, how'd you feel at the end? Like, you've got 2 miles to go. Like you're at the top of Barton, and you're on that last 2 miles. At this point you're going to finish. What's that? Walk me through kind of what that feels like. Like what physically, mentally, emotionally, all that stuff.
I think for me, I was always worried about like things like the wheels falling off, and did I go too hard somewhere that at the end?
So even at the end, 2 miles to go, you're like,
So at that point, I was like, all right, I got this now. Like
yeah,
I think I could let my guard down. So once I cleared Barton, I was just like, it's literally downhill,
it's downhill
from
the
hill.
whole way, right?
Mhm.
And so I was like, that's when it started getting like real. Like I'm gonna do this, and there's nothing that's gonna stop me. So, I don't remember if I was like with the same group of people the whole time, if I was past people, like, because there's definitely people suffering and like
Yeah,
there were multiple
I,
loops. So
I feel like I hear stories about like, oh, I really, I was with this person for 3 hours and we
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
suffered through it together and like we were best friends at the finish line and whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
And like, I don't know what's the end of an Ironman like? Like, are there people? Is it like the end of another race where people are passing you, or you're passing people? Like, is there that much energy with?
because I did see people that were like, they were still on their first loop. Like when I was
Yeah.
like finished, I'm like, oh, I was like that sucks. But but the same thing for me. Like I was finishing my first loop, and then this lady was
People
running
are
next to me, and
finishing.
she was like, is this your last loop? Like, no, this is my first. She's like, oh, this is my last. Like, I was like so jealous. Like, oh, that's so great. Like,
Yeah.
but I remember when I got, that was basically the same point on my second loop when I got there. I was like, oh, like now
Yeah.
I'm where that lady
Yeah.
was, and I felt like, all right, it's
yeah,
it's-
because
it's
it's
in
a
the
loop,
bag.
so I guess you don't know like people
Yeah.
around you.
so yeah, it is hard to judge. Like, are you like passing people who are just like
hmm
dead and did it wrong?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think for me, it was like I was just trying to be. The whole thing was I want to be conservative,
Right.
Because I didn't want to have to dig super deep and grind my way to the finish line. I just wanted to be like comfortable at the end.
So no swim. What was your finish time, James?
It was like 9:50 something.
Yeah, under
What was
10.
your
Just
goal?
under
What was
10.
your goal?
I didn't really have a goal, but then at some point I realized I was like, I think I can go under 10. So
Mhm.
then I was like, that's when I started getting nervous. Like, all right, I
Yeah.
gotta start moving on
Yeah.
the run to do it. And I just remember thinking, oh, like I don't think I did. I thought maybe it was too slow.
Uh-huh.
But then when I finished, I was like pleasantly surprised. Like, oh,
That's an
went under
amazing
10.
time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
there's no swim, and the bike was like
Okay.
Yeah, but
super
the swim
fast.
it would have been what 45 minutes, 40.
Right.
That's what I think
Mm.
killed me more. It's like, oh, I could have had a sub. Like,
You would have been sub 11 without a
yeah.
doubt.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that would have
That'd
sounded
still
cool.
Be good.
Doesn't sound
Yeah.
as good as sub 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, but without a swim. But like, if
No,
I
nobody got to know.
Yeah.
yeah. But like saying you did like a sub 11 Ironman would have been.
You could say you did
Next
a sub 10
one.
Ironman.
I can, but then like, oh really? And then I'm like, yeah. But then I'm like, oh, there's
Nobody's
no
going to
swim.
say like, oh, where was it? Chattanooga 2024. Oh, there was no swim. No, nobody's going to say that
True.
unless you give them that information. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Which I've done to a couple people. Like, they're like, how's your Ironman go? I was like, oh, 9 minutes. Awesome. And then I'm like, but there's no swim. They're like, oh.
You can't tell them, and especially like somebody who doesn't know
Yeah.
anything about this, like to them, they might think that's a big deal, but someone who's done this and knows more about it, like it's really not.
Yeah.
Knowing how much training you did and everything.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the journey was important. But at the same time, yeah, like I still feel like, oh, I got to get one in, like do a full one, full,
Full.
yeah, a full Ironman.
Rich, how about you? What was the last walk me through the last 2 miles? Like,
So there's a really cool energy. There's a lot of people. It's dark by the time I'm finishing. I can't answer the question fully because I think what I was really happy about is once I got on the run and everything started to feel okay as I was just doing mile after mile after mile, and
Yeah.
after the first loop it felt okay. I'm not saying like
yeah, you weren't
hitting
floating.
James's
but-
time, but I was like, so I tried to just and the course was so varied, you would have loved it. It
Yeah.
was like there was all different, like you were on a highway for a little bit or a main
Mhm.
road, you turn into a park for a little
Mhm.
while, then you get a hill, then you're in some kind of residential
Neighborhood.
I
section
love
with
that.
like
Makes it go so fast.
there
Yeah.
was like
Mhm.
I wouldn't say fast, but but okay.
Faster.
Yeah.
Non-monotonous.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't,
not
it wasn't
monotonous.
monotonous.
Yeah.
at
So
all.
it's dark, and so when I got to that feeling, I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna. So I didn't just save the journey for the last part of the shoot.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, then let me just take this whole time that I've been training and just kind of enjoy.
Yeah.
I remember telling someone that I hated the wooden bridge. I felt like I could trip there. There's a wooden bridge,
Yeah,
and
the
it's so
pedestrian bridge
rackety,
right at
and
the
it's
end.
Oh, yeah.
pedestrian, and it's
Mhm.
wet. So it would have been okay
Ah.
if it was dry, but all of a sudden it's dark. I can't really.
Yeah.
There's no lighting, and like I was running on, and I was afraid to fall there. But after that, it was just kind of cool, surreal, like feeling of just being part of this thing that was bigger
Right.
than you, and you were bigger than it, and it was like a whole thing. You just enjoyed it. So it wasn't just the last 2 miles for sure. It was all of it, and there were. I remember. I think I said to Yvonne, I said, you know what those stories where people are like they run together for 3 hours and they're best friends? That didn't happen to me. Like, that just didn't happen. happen.
They were
Everybody
avoiding you.
ignored
I
you.
know.
Yeah, everybody ignored me.
Like, who's
Um,
this guy?
The partiers on the hill were really cool. Some of them would get out and just like jog with you a couple of feet and
Uh-huh.
stuff. So they were awesome, and the support was awesome. But yeah, most of the time, I wouldn't say I was passing hundreds of people, but I passed some, and
Yeah.
I think some obviously passed me also. But
Yeah.
it was not a consistent like answer to that question.
Really, sorry to cut you off, but the surreal part of the race was after you cross a pedestrian bridge and you made this left and you're heading towards the finish line. There's this part where there's like nobody. It's like quiet. Like you're along like the bridge and the overpass, and then like you're about to head to shoot. There's let's say like an eighth of a mile. Nobody on that part of the course. It's like this weird no man's land. So like you kind of like
Are you
had
kind of like alone
You
with
have
your
to be
you're
thoughts?
like
alone with
alone.
yourself, but like you can hear the crowd, and so you're just
Oh,
like
that's
you're like
cool.
It's like a movie scene.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
can
like
hear
soon
them
as
in
you
the
know
distance.
you know there's a light, and you're like by yourself, and
yeah.
there was that tunnel.
You're just there, like you just know, like it's
Yeah.
you did it. Like you can like you can almost let your guard down there, and then once you get down that little hill, you see the chute, you see the lights, you're right there in the
Yeah.
crowd, and then it's just like this rush of emotion. But it's kind of cool to go from that silence to then like the energy.
What was that emotion at the finish line? Because I watched the finisher
photos.
You know,
The
no, it's a
video.
video,
Videos.
right? Rich, you seemed like genuinely
Yeah.
like fired up and like just like you almost looked on the verge of tears.
I might have been. It might have been just a lot of sweat. And it was raining all day,
Yeah.
so like I can't tell you what it was.
But what
Could've
were
been
you,
all of it?
What was your emotion coming
Um,
across the finish line?
It was that what you mentioned before, and then the opposite of it. So I'm like 100% in or
What?
100% out.
So like
As
Hold on,
you
hold
just-
on.
No,
So
exactly
what you
the
mentioned-
opposite of what you said.
What you
Yeah.
mentioned
Rich is
before
Both
was
sides
Rich is
of the
arguing
coin.
both ways.
One
Wait.
year,
sides
we
of the
still,
coin.
nothing
So
has changed.
So what you mentioned before is not both sides of the coin. What you mentioned before was like I was so on the verge of just throwing in the towel so many times. Like
Yeah.
it was just like it. So that was surreal finishing it. That
Mhm.
was the emotion. It was going from like I might have not been here right now.
I feel like that's probably like a very common emotion
Yeah, that's,
for an
that's
Iron
probably.
Man. Probably.
Yeah.
Right. And then I was just so elated that I didn't throw in the towel.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
and I
Okay.
did it, and nothing else mattered.
James, how about you?
Well, the funny story about Rich finishing though, me and Quichu, we're all there like cheering him on. We had to like go around. So once he crossed the finish line, we have to like go around and meet at the
Oh,
back.
yeah.
So me and Quichu are trying to go meet Rich at the finish line, and we don't see him. Like, what happened to him? Where is he? And we're waiting, we're looking around. So we're like, maybe he's at medical. Like we're thinking like maybe
Yeah.
Rich like collapsed or something happened. So we're like at the medical tent looking.
That's
for
how
him.
good I looked.
We're like, I hope nothing's wrong because we saw someone getting attended to, and
Yeah.
we're like, oh, is that Rich? And then
Oh my god.
then we find him walking back from like he had just gone straight to the food tent, ate, came back. Like you,
What
you
was
did
the
all
post-race
that right
meal?
away.
Barbecue?
It was a sub,
A sandwich
like
was pretty good.
Oh, a
It's pretty
sub.
Jersey
good.
Mike's kind of thing.
Oh.
McAllister's.
I could
It
do
wasn't
that
great.
after a race.
But it was fun.
Barbecue.
But also
What do
like
you want? Barbecue?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Tennessee.
Muscle Man.
That
Yeah.
Muscle
Oh,
Man
Tennessee.
chicken was one
That's
of
the
the
best-
best
that's
chicken
the
I
best
ever
meal.
had.
yeah,
So
it was really good.
Muscle Man's number
Yeah.
one. Maryland is the worst.
0.
Yeah.
Yeah, last place.
Yeah.
You thought Atlantic City was good?
What was Atlantic City? I don't
Hamburgers.
remember.
I think if
It
I
was off
could,
a
They
truck.
were not good.
I think if I could taste the
No.
burger at the time, it'd probably been fine. But
They were not
I just
good.
ate too early.
No, those weren't good.
Mm.
Can we talk about your Asian glow has reached its peak?
I mean, now I could drink like guilt free. I'm not like, not training for anything, like abstaining from alcohol before races. Oh, I didn't abstain like the whole time, like Yvonne, but I tried to set myself up for as
Yvonne
much.
went all in.
Like after I got back from vacation, my HRV, everything was like destroyed.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so I was like eating kale, spinach, weighted blankets, supplements, sleeping in my own room, temperature dialed. Like I was just doing whatever I could. to-
Ellen must have loved it. She
I
was like,
think
"Oh,
it's
it's like
probably-
I'm not even married anymore.
But yeah, now it's like nice. I like can finally just let loose. And
yeah.
Let loose and go back to my wife.
Ellen, that's why Ellen lets him keep racing.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
like, another marathon? Sure.
we've been together since we were 16, so like,
She
it's like
knows
we
all.
don't need to be like together all the time. It's like you're at that
Understood.
point where it's like, all right, everyone can do their own things. And we're so happy.
All right. So last question about Iron Man. One and done or no?
I never say never, but it feels that way.
Yeah.
It was because like the wheels almost fell off, and
Right.
it was not even outside of training. The wheels almost fell off.
Right.
I'll just quickly say that I took stock, and I'll say that at work there is a requirement you have to be there a minimum of 9 hours a day and have a certain percentage at the end of the year, and I met that, and that's a lot of hours. And
That's
9
a
hours
lot.
a
9
day?
hours
A
a
day.
day.
I met that, exceeded it, and also like commuting is
Trained
an
for
hour,
an
and
Ironman.
then did it. So like I was
That's a
kind
lot.
but the wheels are pretty close to
Yeah.
wobbly.
Yeah.
So I never say never. You never know, like in
Right.
10 whatever. But right now, I'm so happy not to think,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
not to think about it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It was a lot.
James.
Placid 2026
Yeah.
or 2027.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys want to do.
Well, you
Just tell me
heard.
right now,
Yeah.
and I could just sign up.
I need a little buffer time, but I would love to do Placid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like it's an iconic race.
I know
think
you'll.
around
I know
here
you'll
it
do
is.
another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. We have to.
We
We have to. We have to.
Yeah.
Because that's
he
I
means
wouldn't
his-
want to do it by myself.
he's
Training
just-
by
Right.
my own.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't.
not-
I don't
it's
think I
not
could train by
fun.
myself and do it.
Yeah.
I
I
like
remember going to-
having watched you guys go through it, the knowing that there are people out there who do train by themselves and train like in their basement on a trainer and a
Mhm.
treadmill and
Mhm.
like those are fucking psychopaths.
Yeah.
Or who
right?
actually
Yeah.
do the race like on their own in the basement, and then like
Yeah,
there's people who
that's-
do that. Just a quick anecdote. I remember doing like a 6-hour ride. We were going down some hill, and we were saying to each other, we just have to put in the time. So I was like trying to get as big as possible to go as slow as possible on the hill. Like, we just have to do the time. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. The mileage doesn't matter.
I don't think I
Just get
never
big.
gave you guys a mileage goal.
No.
Never.
No,
It's just
I don't think
time.
any. None of our training is mileage.
And
based.
I would want to do another one because I don't need to race an Ironman. I'm happy with just
Yeah.
finishing it.
I mean, you could go do that like out around here. You can make your own Ironman. Save
That's
a couple
not as fun.
$1,000.
That's not.
It's
th-
fun
then
being
the
at the-
bill
at the
doesn't come
place.
due. That he makes his own bill and pays
Right, then he
himself.
pays
Yeah,
himself. And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, self-employed, right? Okay.
What about you guys?
What about it?
None and
Would
done.
you- Would you consider?
None and done.
Do you have a? Is it still on the?
Bucket list.
Ma-
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, I think
I'll
you're
take that as a
see,
yes.
to be I think you were asking that question too early.
Yeah, I
Give
can't.
Yeah.
them
I
give them a
can't.
chance. Like let them, start building the foundation and the
Yeah.
bricks, and then
Okay.
if you ask that question, then
Well, at
I
least
bet
it's
the
not
answer
a-
would be different.
At least it's not a no. It wasn't a flat
Yeah,
out
no,
no.
it's not a
Yeah,
no for
it's not
me.
a no.
But
So there's a chance.
so you're saying there's a chance?
yeah.
That's all I need to know. 2027 or 2026. One or the
You
other.
said 2026, but
Or 2027 is fine. Or every 4 years, like the Olympics. I think that's a good. Like if you want to.
So every fourth year, you're gonna put in the volume.
Like I mean, I think to preserve relationships.
I
and
think
stuff.
honestly, every time you do
To
it, it would get
preserve
easier.
relationships.
Yeah.
Every what?
Every time you do it, it would get easier.
It would get easier in what sense? Like if you did harder races,
Because
it
you
would be, like,
know what to
harder.
expect.
Yeah.
And like the
I think I
it
would.
builds, like the endurance builds. Like these guys aren't losing the fitness they built. It's not gone.
Give
like
me
that-
another week.
That
Start from a higher spot
you're-
each time.
Every time you're a little higher. So even if you just want to stay at the same spot, like it's always easier to do something a second time than the first time.
Yeah.
You know?
And experience is
Mentally and
plays a big-
physically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can
experience.
guarantee me full rain that day, I might commit to it right now.
Mhm.
All right,
That's
guaranteed.
what that's that. Yeah,
I'll
that-
guarantee it right now.
that's what I think could have been a much different broken me.
But also like, okay, I asked him
Forever.
his time. What was your time?
Oh yeah.
I didn't, but
I think those are
threw
super respectable time.
I know
Yeah.
I threw all goals of time. I can't tell you because I threw it all out once I got sick.
Sure.
But I think and I don't want to get made fun of because I'll get it wrong. But I think it was around 11:30.
Yeah.
something like
You were
that.
under 12 hours for
Yeah,
an
I
Iron
mean-
Man.
What was
Yeah.
your goal? Did you have one?
No, and that had to do like I had no idea how the bike was gonna go.
Yeah.
And
But what I'm saying, like, so if we
That was fine.
take that, like, it was a great time,
yeah,
right? So even if we take, like, let's turn the weather on its head and give you guys a super hot day,
Oh my
You're
gosh,
s-
it would have been.
it would have sucked. It would have
Yeah.
absolutely been
Ugh.
miserable. But you still would have been fine.
and no
Yeah.
swim. I couldn't even get in the water.
No, take your swim. Take your 40-minute,
I want the swim.
40-minute swim.
Yeah, it cools me off.
But 90 degrees and sunny, like,
Oh.
It would have been a completely
would've-
different race for
wouldn't-
everybody.
but if the goal was to finish
Still would have
and
finished.
still
Yeah.
feel okay, you still would have
Yeah.
had hours.
Yeah.
Would've
No, no,
done-
yeah,
of a
I wasn't
buffer.
worried about
Would've gone
cutoffs. I
easier.
wasn't worried.
Right.
I'm fine with my time. I'm not
Yeah.
like.
So what I'm saying is, like, it wasn't. You were there, like you were.
Mhm.
You
And I
you
think the
hit
swim didn't
your-
affect. That's the other thing about, like, did I feel like I did it? Because I honestly don't think, because it was a downriver swim and it would have taken 40 to 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was banking on like I swam. My workouts were swim, but it was like half the amount like Yvonne swam, and I was like banking on like I don't need to like
Oh,
swim as
everyone
much.
swam.
That was
half
part
the
of the
amount.
plan, right?
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
we knew what the swim would. If like the goal, the idea was the swim was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But we knew what it was going to look
I
like.
think like any extra hours I had was spent on running.
Yeah.
It was
Mhm.
just run as much as possible.
So,
So-
I mean, congrats, guys. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, it was awesome to watch from the outside. You know, to be a little part of it, to help out and stuff was big.
You
I
guys
wore
trained so
swag
hard.
for a much longer period after that race than I normally do.
You guys had your wristbands on
When did
still
you-
like a
Forever.
week
When
after.
did you cut your wristband off?
We went to his house.
Yeah,
they
at
still
at
were
the
wearing
barbecue.
them.
That was 2
I
weeks.
was the-
That
I
was
was
2
weeks-
weeks
2 weeks
after.
after.
I
Mhm.
took it off as soon as we left
Chattanooga.
Chattanooga because I feel like in Chattanooga it's relevant. And as soon as
Outside.
we left, I was like, nobody cared. Like
Yeah.
nobody cares.
I wore the sweatshirt to work, the bag, I think, everything.
How much did you guys spend? Did you spend more in the
Buying stuff.
whatever that
Buying
place is
merch?
called, the
Iron Man
merch
Yeah,
village,
I'm not a
the
merch.
village? Then at a 70.3, did you buy any fun Ironman stuff?
I don't think I got anything.
You
Yeah,
didn't
I'm
buy
not a
anything?
merch guy.
Wow. Okay.
Mm. I
Mm-mm.
would have bought something.
'Cause the stuff they give you for the race is pretty good.
Okay.
The shirt was like a nice long
Yeah, for
sleeve.
And I
Ironman they
liked-
give you nice
yeah.
stuff.
I do like
yeah.
the what we made.
Oh
and our
yeah, your sweatshirts are
You guys
nice.
had those sweatshirts,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so awesome job on that.
Mhm.
James, we got 2 races left for your
2
recap.
Well,
more.
it was only supposed to be one more race.
It was only supposed to be one more. So
Yeah.
you finished September 29th was Ironman Chattanooga,
Yeah.
and then always on the schedule, right? No, not really. You texted me.
I wanted to
from
do Philly.
Philly, right?
And my compromise to you was like, I will wait till we
Compromise, it's-
finish
yeah.
Chattanooga before signing up for it. Because in my head, I was like, I've never run this much before.
Yeah.
I should
Mhm.
have the fitness to break 4 hours. Like,
Right. And my
seize that
thought as a
moment.
coach was I have no idea what you're going to feel like. I
Yeah.
don't know how long it's going to take to recover from this. So,
So-
I tried to ask you to just pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah. So my compromise was like, I won't sign up until after.
Right.
And then on the drive home, I go check and it's sold. Philly is sold out. And now I'm like panicking. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I tried to get a charity bib. It just so happened like Girls on the Run, the charity organization
yeah?
we did PB Try, they get charity bibs. So I contacted their contact, and then they didn't have anything left.
Okay.
I was on the wait list with AACR, who's the title sponsor. They didn't have any more, so I was like, oh, what do I do? So I found the Queens Marathon, which was like a week before Philly would have been.
Yeah.
And I was trying to weave it between all the swim meets that my kids had. I had found a weekend where
Right.
I wouldn't miss that.
Mhm.
So yeah, we went into, I don't know what we did, like a week or more off or something. And
Might have been 2 weeks of really like a week off and then another week of super, super light.
yeah,
And then we tried to put in one solid marathon block.
the training went really, really well. I
Yeah.
felt like we did the Yasos,
Yep.
800s, and the numbers, like I think it was basically holding like 3:45 pace,
Right.
like easily, but it was cold. Like
Yeah.
in that
Mhm.
weather in the morning, it was felt like a breeze. We were doing these 1K repeats on long runs, and
Yeah.
everything was looking good. And then marathon day comes, and like
So we're holding I had nothing like
Mhm.
James is holding 3:45 pace, so he decides like let's go out at 3:41 pace.
so yeah, it was hard because I'm running and like like every other race, and I always do it. Like it feels really good.
Feels
I'm like I need to
good.
slow myself down, but I'm like, it feels good. Let's just.
Yeah.
So it was a little fast in the beginning.
Yeah. And it's
Um,
crazy how narrow that margin is. I think that's the take home message is like when you're trying to push that edge, the
Yeah.
margin is really
That's
fine.
racing though, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
racing, you're
Yeah. Right.
riding that edge.
And I think
right?
that like you've become a better racer as you've progressed. Is like you're better at this now. and you are riding that line. And unfortunately, sometimes what happens when you're riding it is you go the wrong side of it by a little bit.
And I exceeded, and like even before, Greg had noticed in my data, he's like, when you exceed 155, 160 in your heart rate, that's when you cramp up. And I remember, I think when I started the race, it was like I was at 150, like right
At the
away.
start.
I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. But I was like, part of me was like, you know what? I feel comfortable. Don't be afraid and just do it. So basically, it was another, like Jersey said, like 18 miles, like the best race I ever had. Like if there was an 18-mile race, I would do well in those because like I can suffer there and I'll be fine. But then the wheels, I started my left calf started cramping. Then my right calf started calf started cramping.
That glow.
And I was just I was destroyed. And part of me just wanted to stop. I wanted to just give up. But then Koichi had come out with me. I was like, I can't just like DNF, and he came out for nothing. So I think it was like mile 20. Yeah. And it was fun because I gave you guys the live track.
Yeah, we were tracking you.
Tracking the data.
And then I love how he always texts us mid-race, like when he starts hurting.
I was like, yeah, guys, I don't have it today. I'm going to have to walk this out. And you guys, no, just keep going. But it's funny, I guess, because Koichi would share whatever. I guess you were telling Koichi for me to do. Because Koichi's like, hold that pace, keep it going, stay consistent. And then like Koichi's like, you gotta push. And then I was like, I can't go anymore. And then something must have happened. Like Koichi, like they saw my numbers dropping. Koichi like hands me a hot dog in the middle of the race. Like he's like, eat this, and it was just like a hot dog. I would say it was basically he gave me mustard with some hot dog on it. It was
with
just
a
like
hot dog holster.
Yeah, so like I only ate a quarter of it, and he handed me a bottle of water, and I ate that, and then I'd say like 5 minutes later, I was able to like run, which because every time I was like my mind was saying like run and build, I would try to build up speed, and as soon as I like got up to a certain pace, I would start cramping. I'd have to shut it down. But after that hot dog, like I had a good like 2.5 miles where I was able to just get back into it. And I was like, oh, I think maybe I could still do it.
It all goes back to the perfect hot dog.
The perfect hot dog. Yeah. James loves.
So like I should have had that second. He gave me half a hot dog and two quarters. I was only able to get 1 quarter in because it's just I didn't know it was gonna happen.
Running a marathon, eating a hot dog.
Yeah.
If I had that second quarter,
I just wish we had a picture.
Like if I had put that in my pocket and saved it, maybe like
oh my God.
if I got that in, because
I could have looked like Patrick Longa at the finish line.
Yeah,
it was only a quarter of a hot dog, so whatever.
Wouldn't add
I
much.
guess we could have added too. But yeah, I finished. It was like a 4:13. Which I think Jersey City was like a 4:30.
Yeah, 4:25.
4:25. Chattanooga was a 4:18.
Yeah.
So I was like, ugh. I was like disappointed, but I was like, whatever. Like I learned, went too hard, whatever.
Yeah, then we need to get into this because we haven't actually talked about this yet. So you finished there. You text me like, I'm satisfied. It was a good season. I think I got it. Like, it wasn't great, but I put out there what I had,
and I didn't want you to feel like the training was wrong. Like
no,
everything was right. I was like, don't feel responsible for my like poor execution that day.
No, I never like I told you, like if I want to have part of the good, if I want to feel like I'm part of the good, I have to also feel like I'm part of the bad. Like I'm not, but that doesn't hurt me as a person. Like I can separate myself from that. But then last weekend,
yeah, it was last weekend,
right?
Yeah, Sunday.
I'm walking my dog. And I have I'm like, it's funny. I had a weird dream last night. I want to share it with you guys. And I
was like, what is this?
It's right. It's the weirdest thing.
It's so weird.
I had the dream and I woke up and I was thinking about it and I'm like, that's such a weird. It was so fucking realistic.
So
like it was in the weirdest setting. Like we were walking across a bridge and then we were hanging out in like some weird abandoned area. And James is like hiding behind a table. And he said,
yes, he is.
Yeah, it's so weird, right? And then I text these guys and I say, like, it's really funny dream. James, was embarrassed to tell me that he had signed up for Doha 70.3.
His response was the best.
Right? His 70, and because he was worried about what I'd think about it. And then what's your response to that?
I was like, your intuition is correct.
And he's standing on the start line of a 5th marathon of the year.
Yeah.
To start in like 15 minutes.
Well, that's so. I just texted you a screenshot of like my entry or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then
you go crickets, silent.
Because
Right?
I was actually warming up.
Yeah.
I
Good
had
job.
learned. I was warming up. It was cold. I was like, I need to get warmed up as
Nice.
possible. So I didn't answer. And then you're like, is this today? And like,
yeah.
or no, you're like, are you running a
Are
marathon
you
right now?
running around?
And I was like, no, in 20 minutes.
Yeah. That was the
I'm
good
warming
one.
up. But part of me was like, oh, yeah, I think I just need to do like,
How late was this decision? Because middle of the week, you were planning on leading a trail run for the group,
Yeah.
right? So
yeah.
like,
I
are we talking like
yeah,
I
and
already
then
had
all
the
of a
marathon.
sudden, he's like, "Oh, never
sorry
mind,
guys,
I
gotta
can't run."
cancel.
Yeah, I gotta
Everybody
cancel
who
Sunday.
had posted, he's like, sorry, gotta cancel. Sorry,
Yeah.
gotta cancel. Sorry, gotta cancel.
Yeah.
So what day of the week, Sunday race, did you decide?
It was like 2 days after Queen's Marathon.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
really?
if I know how he
before?
thinks,
Oh.
no.
Oh,
But if
okay.
I know how he thinks, you should have been in the car on the way back. It was just like, what's next? Like it was
Yeah.
just like, what can I sign up for? How can I get
And
into
then
this?
he texts, he's like, "I think I have a problem."
Part of it was like,
So,
I was like,
it had to be
I
right
know
on
it's in me. I had, and then I was like, I know, I just paced it wrong. The training was right.
Yeah.
The fitness
Yeah.
is there. I just went
But
out
I mean,
too
you had
hard.
2 weeks of very little, right? I mean,
I had that
you had
one trail run.
one trail run,
I
and a
sprained
couple
my
of
ankle on
runs in the
again.
middle of the week.
So I sprained my ankle again on it, and sprained it before mile 1 and ran like another 7 miles on it, and I could barely walk afterwards.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, like I did it again. And then so I already so then I was already planning the next trail run, but it's like I can't say like, oh, I can't be there because I didn't want to like
Yeah.
show my hand. So I had talked to Koichi. Koichi was gonna be like lead it for me if so. But then he got sick or something, so that's why I had to
Oh,
cancel. it.
that's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
I thought it was like a Friday night decision.
No, I'm not that crazy.
No.
The funny thing is,
Bullshit.
though, there are plans out there for 2-week
Yeah.
marathons. Hal Higdon, is that his name?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a protocol. It's
Mhm.
like recovery for like the first week with a couple like recovery runs, 6-mile run on that first weekend, and
Yeah.
then the next week you're just recovering, and then a couple 2-3 mile
Yeah.
runs. I was like, oh, I could do that. That's fine. I just ended up not doing any of those runs because of my ankle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like
And then, so you went out to, where were you? Far
Rockaway Beach.
Yeah.
Freezing. It was
Windy.
It was a
windy.
brutal day.
Yeah.
It was
Cold day.
27 was the temperature, but with the wind chill, it was like 17 degrees or something.
Yeah. So no
Um,
overheating problems.
No overheating. I did wear like an extra layer. So I was gonna just do one long sleeve shirt. I decided to put a quarter zip over it because I was like it's too cold.
Yeah.
But I still wore shorts because I don't like anything touching my legs like below. So it was comfortable. And then this time I just went out way more conservative.
Yeah.
Like 9-minute.
Yep.
Or 9-minute miles in the beginning. Walked. I didn't do the jog as my
Mhm.
recovery. I just walked, and then I figured just have the confidence that like I'll be consistent, and then at the last 10K, like,
Yeah.
pick it up if the goal is in sight. So
Mhm.
pretty much just like followed that, and then I had to make adjustments because it was an east to west course. There was a really strong wind. I think like there was wind gusts of like 24 miles an
Yeah, it
hour.
was really, really windy.
So I realized after the first loop, I was like, all right, when I'm running with a tailwind, I have to let myself go faster. Don't be afraid that like I'm
Yeah.
not hitting the 9 miles. Like I was going like 820s, but I was
Mhm.
like with the wind, the exertion was the same level.
Yeah.
My heart rate was staying
Mhm.
low, and then on the tailwind, I'm gonna I have to give it back, or the headwind, I have to give it back. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I figured out that, and then the last loop was kind of brutal, like with turning around.
The fact that you finished with like, what was it, like 2 miles into the wind, that seemed tough.
Yeah, it was brutal because like it's like you don't hear any wind at all like when you're running with it, and you're
Yeah.
just like 3 miles, and you just turn around,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it's like
Right in your
and then you're
face.
just like leaning into it, and it's like takes so much more effort. It was like a 50-watt difference
Yeah.
based on
Hmm.
my watch, and then parts of it I was just like I don't think like I was running out of fuel. Like I didn't plan my gels right. I was short one gel.
Uh-huh.
And then, I was like running out of gas, but at some point I was like, I got to pick it up. Like it was
Yeah.
very close, like within reach. And I remember just being like, make it from lamppost to lamppost. Don't stop. Keep running. And then I saw the finish line finish, and it was like a 3:56. I was like, did it.
Did it. Check
So-
box.
I was
Done
like,
and
"Oh."
dusted.
And I was like,
So
all right.
if you didn't, then what? Another 2 weeks? Another like
Hal Higdon doesn't have that plan.
Yeah, and after listening to the book, like, yeah, my bank account is empty now,
Yeah.
so it's done.
So I mean, like everybody, big year for you guys. James, like massive,
I know.
like
So big.
leveled up, right? Like you hit a huge number of goals. Five marathons completed this year.
And
Crazy,
if possible,
James.
maybe it could be a 6th.
New Year's
sixth.
Eve.
Yeah,
Yeah, your New
Yeah.
Year's Eve thing.
that would be like a,
Um,
if we could. I'm playing out the course, but we can make it a 26-mile trail run.
Well, whatever. But I mean, like an Ironman, your first Ironman. Yeah, it was a big year. Rich,
Yeah.
Ironman your real first.
Your real
Ironman,
first.
right?
Your
Like,
first first.
Your
First,
actual
first.
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 Yeah,
Well,
we,
the-
we talk
for
about
now.
later.
For now,
For
right?
now.
Your next
There's
one
always
might
the
be your
next-
There's
second
gonna
first.
be a
Second
second
first.
first.
Yeah.
This
But
is your
I
first
mean,
first.
like, congrats, guys! Like, awesome year.
Yeah.
What's next year looking like? James, you said 50-miler, right?
I think it's
Or
gonna
maybe
be. I think that's
maybe
my. I think I
100K?
like having I think that big scary goal.
Yeah.
Like I need something like that. So it's not gonna be an Ironman, but I think ultra, right? So
Yeah.
either the 50-mile or the 100K.
How about Rich? What are you thinking? What is
I
next year
wasn't
going to look for
thinking
you?
much. I was saving it for another episode. I had also committed that I wasn't around much this summer,
Yeah.
and it's like big with the kids and what they didn't go to the beach once or anything like that. So I said I'm definitely going to be around for the summer and things
Mhm.
like that. So I kind of have to take a look and
So you got to
see
do
what
an
that
earlier
looks
race.
like. Yeah. So if I'm going to do
Mm.
anything, it's going to be
Muscle Man.
earlier.
Muscle Man.
Muscle
July.
Man or
Middle of July.
yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go.
Or
So
Muscle
it's-
Man.
It can't be. I don't think it's gonna be
Muscle Man.
No,
What?
because that's summer. That's when the kids have summer.
That's the early summer.
Yeah, whatever you say, it's still summer.
You have all of July and August afterwards.
Right, but it's still summer. So if you're gonna commit that, and I had all the support, I got an amazing amount of support from Jenny. So
School ends like end of June,
like mid, yeah.
and then 2 weeks into July it's race, and then you're done.
So summer.
Early summer.
So but still summer.
Well, if you had signed up for Tremblant when it was open, it would have been
Yeah, right.
Sure.
Yeah, Mont Tremblant
That
filled
sold
out
so
so fast. It
Yeah.
must be
True.
It must be all the talk we do about it. Everybody's
Everyone's
excited
listening
for it.
Yeah, they want to be there.
Mm.
Maybe it was the Iron Cowboy.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be
Oh,
there.
yeah.
You gotta
Oh,
beat
is he?
him.
That's it.
Yeah, he's committing to like racing instead of just like enduring through a crazy 100.
Ooh, so it'd be big to beat the Iron Cowboy, huh?
Yes.
That's what I said. James has to beat him.
James versus James.
James versus
Yeah.
James.
Should I wear a
Battle
cowboy
of the
hat?
Jameses.
Yeah.
Should I wear a cowboy hat there?
You should dress
Mhm.
like who's the guy in Times Square?
Yeah,
the
the
naked
cowboy.
Naked cowboy?
Naked
Naked
cowboy.
cowboy. Wear
Just
that.
shorts.
That seems like it's a lot of
Tighty-
chafing.
Tidy whities
On
a
the
cowboy
run?
I would
hat.
go
Oh,
with
that's right, he wears
I would go with the
underwear.
leather chaps, no pants
Assless
under.
chaps.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Nice. I like it. Might be not Arrow on the bike. Well, we
Definitely
can
not.
we can
Yeah.
test it out.
Mm.
So
Ma-
James Tremblant and 50 miler.
An ultra, yeah.
Awesome.
Maryland.
Marilyn
see.
gave her answer.
We'll see. I give my
Yeah.
answer.
It could
We'll
be
see.
more. Elaborate.
We'll see. See how next month or so goes. I had to make a decision by like January 1 if I'm doing Tremblant. So
Okay. Just give me your credit card number.
you
I might have it.
might. I think you do.
Greg.
I don't know. I'm thinking either Muscle Man or maybe Eagle Man.
Eagle Man.
Yeah,
When is Eagle Man?
early June.
What about Happy Valley?
Eagle Man could work too instead of.
Doesn't really intrigue me much.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about that one.
I kind of
don't-
want
That's the Penn State. Penn
yeah,
State.
at Penn
Yeah.
State. I kind of want like one that I can do well at. I feel like I
Okay.
need another.
Set yourself up for
Yeah,
success.
exactly. And like Eagle Man is other than the heat. Eagle Man's made for me.
Yeah.
Eagle Man's fun.
Muscle Man isn't too far. Like Muscle Man could be a good fast bike, and like the run's challenging, but like I fucking sucked at the run last time we did it, so it'd be nice to go back and do better.
That run destroyed me.
So that's why it's up there. But again,
It's a little
kinda like,
different now, I think too.
yeah, it's actually
I don't
the-
know if it's harder or
the
easier.
uphill is more one piece of uphill as
Mm.
opposed to like we went up stair
Twice.
steps and
Yeah.
like and stuff. So
I mean, if you sign up for Muscle Man, I'm there. I
you
need to.
have
I need
a
to settle that
freaking
score.
problem, man.
I need to settle that score.
Muscle Man's such a nice race, but I can't do it. I'm away.
Yeah.
Eagle Man might work though.
Eagle Man's one, like when I want to, I really want to eventually be able to go do a fast. Like
Yeah,
for
and
me,
I didn't do that one.
for me,
last
I'd
time.
like to go under 5 hours, and
That's the one to do.
Eagle
it.
Man's the one.
Just
to
bring
do it at.
socks this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a IT band that doesn't say "screw you." So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I honestly, it's more like, as corny as it sounds, like I gotta get over the me issues and like figure stuff out for myself.
Well, you tell us what you need, and we'll support
but that's
you.
the thing. Like you guys say that, and I 100% know that you'd bend over backwards to help me out, but it's not something that somebody else can do for me.
Do you
know? It's-
respond to positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement?
Do you want James to beat you?
Yeah, yeah, probably not that. No,
Silence.
I
I,
don't.
don't
think
think-
he
yeah.
responds to silence.
Silence.
I don't know what I respond to. That's, I guess, what I have to figure out.
Mm.
So
Well, January 1 is around the corner. We all set, New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Like that's
Mhm.
yeah, that's always a good
that's where we
time
turn
to
a chapter.
time to do it. Like even just figuring out how to figure that out. But
Mm.
that's kind of my goal. Similar to what Marilyn said, like figure out a way to just keep putting bricks in the wall and
Mhm.
one day
Yeah.
after another.
fall in
So,
love with training again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just have to, see what else is out there, and then you go back to your true love.
I don't know what that means, but sure.
Not touching that one.
You
Yeah.
know, you just check the other team, see what's going on.
No.
And it's like, no, that's not for me.
No other team.
Got to
No.
go back to what I know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
what's familiar.
So much there.
All right, guys. Do we have anything else to add? We're at 2 hours.
No.
I think
Oh
we're
my
good.
Goodness.
That's
Yeah.
a short one
It's
for
a
us.
two-parter.
It's good. It's good.
It's a good way. It's a good
Hey,
comeback.
it's just like the podcast. Like, just got another one in there. Like, it's been a while. We
That's
did
right.
it.
We did it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now I got to edit it and publish it.
Don't
So
even
that-
edit it. This
No.
one's good to go.
Just
There's,
good to
there's
go?
no editing that needs to be
Nothing
done.
needed.
Send it out.
is.
Yeah, it's nothing that needs to be taken out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right.
Mhm.
Thank you, everybody, for lasting 2 hours with us. It's the middle of December, so it's time to load up the bike on the trainer and just listen for 2 hours to the quad pod.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And we'll bring this back to you every once in a while. And, we'll get back on a routine. All right. Thanks for listening. Take care, everybody.